Mediterranean. They've activated the conservatives versus the liberals, and the Christians versus the Muslims. We just had this massive Christian revival for Charlie Kirk's memorial service, right? And you had many of these Jews like Shabbos Kestenbaum and Joe Lonsdale and Ron Coleman and many others saying, oh, isn't this Christian revival wonderful? Well, Jews don't give a shit about Christians, and white Christians especially. If they're pandering to us, it's because they want something. Okay, they're pitting us against Muslims, left versus right, liberal, conservatives versus liberals. Every pressure point that separates the right from the left, they are pressing on. And they want it because they want to blast apart that horseshoe. Or at the very least, create a powerful movement to oppose it and counter it, okay? And so that people are too wrapped up in whites fighting blacks, right fighting the left, conservatives fighting the liberals, Christians fighting the Muslims. All of these points of alignment, and we won't talk about, this where there's this agreement between the two over opposition to Israel, right? So, and then I guess the last point I want to say on this is they've just, like I said, they spent the last 2 years getting rid of organized opposition to Israel on the left. Well, now look what they've done on the right. Look what it's crazy. It's a marvel of intelligence engineering. Now they're pushing out the leftist anti-Israel organizations, and they're beefing up this pro-Israel right-leaning organization, TPUSA, that has just exploded in the last 2 weeks. Right, this massive renaissance and growth in this right-leaning pro-Israel campus organization. So basically, they have put the kibosh, the hard kibosh, on leftist anti-Israel organizations, the organized anti-Israel left, and they've swapped in this super pro-Israel right at the college campus level. Right. Then, of course, you have. They've spent the last 2 years acquiring TikTok. As Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL said, we've got a TikTok problem. We got a generational problem, right? So they just spent the last 2 years taking control of TikTok. And by the way, coincidentally, they completed that a week after Charlie's killed. Now, if you go back and look through Charlie's tweets, Charlie was against censorship of hate speech. He was specifically against censoring TikTok for the purposes of protecting Israel. He's got a tweet about that. He disagreed with that. But my greater point is they needed the youth. Charlie wasn't delivering the youth. They see TikTok perhaps as the most, if Charlie were enough, why do they need TikTok? Let me just put it that way. So, so now you got Palantir and the mass surveillance state. You got Larry Ellison, who's bought TikTok, who controls TikTok. He's pushing Project Stargate and mass surveillance of American citizens. That's Larry Ellison. You got Alex Karp and Peter Thiel, who's been the recipient of all this Epstein investment. So he's connected to that. He's connected to Alex Karp, and he's Israeli Zionists and their AI, and so now that's going to be used to beef up this war against the left. And I'm just a little leery of building a brand new Death Star for targeting people that we're not really in charge of, right? That can be turned around and aimed at people like me. Now, I don't have a problem with going after the left. I don't have a problem with this right-leaning government, this Trump administration going after the left. I don't. They've been coming after us. A payback, we need to even the playing field and take out our enemies. What I don't like is building a brand new Death Star that doesn't currently exist, that can be turned around on me when people like me are not in charge. That's what I don't like. So to sum all this up, to bring it all together, Charlie Kirk, I'm sure his heart was behind Israel. He loved Israel, Zionism, Jews, everything, and he was trying his best. But we have to be honest, he was a failure. He was not delivering the goods. And in pivoting his strategies, he was actually becoming more of a negative liability. And so what do? Maybe you make him a martyr for your cause. Maybe you make his death more valuable than his life. And look, there's precedent for this. JFK, in 1963, JFK was actually seen as a powerful supporter of Israel and a strong ally to Jews, right? On November 23rd, 1963, nobody suspected Israel or Jews at all. And one of the reasons for that is because there was basically nothing there suggesting that they were behind it. And he was a powerful ally. He had spoken to the Zionist Organization of America and said that Israel was a shield in defense of freedom. He had openly partnered with the ADL to try to open up America to more immigration. He had appointed several prominent Jews to his administration. He was making low-interest loans to Israel. He was sending them Hawk missiles. He was defending them against anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union. Jews had donated heavily to his congressional and Senate his Senate campaign and his presidential campaign.
I'm on a site right now, on a job site. These are X spaces. You go listen to it yourself if you have an X account. I'm just streaming it because I thought it was a cool ass X space. But I'm on a job site. You hear that beeping in the background? That's a dang Skylift. He'll shut up in a second.
He was seen as a strong ally to the Jewish people and a powerful defender of Israel. He said Israel is here to stay. Right. So you would have. Number one, you would never have suspected Israel in 1960. That's number one. Number two, if you had, people would have laughed at you and thought you were crazy bonkers. Okay? So they killed him anyway. That's who JFK was. They killed him anyway. And then you look at the USS Liberty, all right, in the 1967 Six-Day War, that unprovoked attack that Israel launched against Egypt and Syria and its enemies. You know, America provided them with financial support, signal intelligence, espionage, material support, financial support, all of it. They still attacked the USS Liberty and tried to sink it. All right. America was Israel's greatest ally in 2001, and Israel still helped pull off 9/11, right, to get us to go to war for them, right? So it doesn't matter like how much in your heart you're for these people, or how much necessarily you're helping them, or how much of a friend you've been to them. They don't see us as human beings, right? They don't see us as equals. They see us as tools, investments, widgets, useful idiots, whatever. Use your own label, okay? And, I can plausibly see the calculus going on here. You know, Charlie's great. We love him. He's working hard for us, but he's a failure. He's not delivering the youth. And in fact, every day he becomes more and more like Nick Fuentes. And that's actually bad for business. And we're sinking more and more money into this pony that is not winning this race. And to use Tucker, to paraphrase Tucker from his speech at Charlie's memorial service, I can just see him sitting around eating hummus, saying, "Why don't we kill him?" And then make his death, and then exploit his death for our benefit and our ends. And what does Michael Jackson say about these people? He says they build you up just to suck you dry like leeches. That's what Michael Jackson said, And, so I guess, and then I'll end with Harrison Smith. He said, I don't know who needs to hear this again, but the person who blamed Charlie Kirk's murder in Israel was Charlie Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk said, if I turn against them, I'm afraid of them, right? So I guess my point is like, I don't know that they were involved. I don't know. Then maybe they weren't. But I think it's way too early to just reject it out of hand, because there's too many pieces that sort of align and remind us of other high-profile assassinations that they have been involved in. And so our intuition has been, ignited. It's been activated. And as my friend Cynthia McKinney says, you always have to look at these people because it's almost always these people. So we know that, right? We have that intuition. So here I am. I'm trying to make the case for plausibly why Israel might have wanted him dead. And it could be completely wrong. Like 2 weeks after JFK was assassinated, you could have come up with some wild theory and it would have been wrong because nobody knew about the nukes. Nobody knew about the nuclear angle 2 weeks after he was killed. Nobody knew at all, right? Like they didn't know for decades. In fact, it was 30 years before anybody really knew about it. So, and then it was 30 years more after that, almost, that people gained the appreciation that we have now. So my point is there might be something here that we don't even know. It's way too early to tell, but I do believe that we owe it to ourselves to make the case, to make a plausible case, to at least keep the case open and keep people motivated to keep digging. So I guess that's where I'll leave it, Ryan. I know it's a huge download, big knowledge dump, a lot of speculation, but that's the thesis here. Charlie Kirk plausibly was more valuable to them dead or alive at this point. He was failing. He was useless, definitionally. He was useless and failing and becoming more of a net negative and liability every day. So what do you do about it? You make him a martyr for your cause. What an honor to bestow on a goy.
God bless you, Sam. See, this is why we put this panel together. We just had the legendary Ian Carroll joining us as well, folks. We've been, I'm really new to this, and these are all the best of the best people that have really held my hand and helped wake me up along. When I first reached out to Ian to make this documentary, that was over a year ago. And everybody's like, oh, why'd you guys wait to drop it? And, you're just sitting on this documentary. No, that was completely my fault. I completely screwed Ian over. We were supposed to release that last October 7th. That was like our original initial date. And then I had all these child trafficking documentaries, and Ian just being the absolute nicest guy that he is, just, no, don't even worry about it, man. Those are way more important. Get those out there, go save the children, do whatever you got to do, and just completely let me just keep going one documentary after another. And then he just kept going, when the time is right, man, well, it'll be like a sign from God that when the time is right. And sure enough, like, we literally just finished it a week ago, and I couldn't be more honored to have been a part of that with Ian. I think my editors and my team absolutely crushed it and knocked it out of the park. Everybody's been ranting and raving about that documentary. So I want to give Ian a big round of applause and give him the mic. And I know he's been diving full send into this. He was covering the Candace Owens podcast when she was on maternity leave there. So I know he's probably been, maybe I've had a few conversations with Candace, and probably has a lot of intel and a lot of stuff to share. So Ian, welcome to the stage, brother, and thanks for joining us.
Can I just interject real quick? I watched it the other night, and I thought it was first rate, Ian and Ryan, and I don't know how Ryan, you do the voodoo with all that video editing. It's like magic to me. So really well done. I don't want to take away from Ian's time, so I'm going to shut up now. I just want to say I highly recommend it. I loved it. I thought it was a great job.
Thanks,
really
brother.
Appreciate that, Sam. Yeah, Ryan killed it with that documentary. The intro is way over the top, Ryan. I really appreciate it, though. You're the man. Sam, everything you just said was really on point, and I think I was really glad that Ryan gave you the floor to elucidate the entire perspective there, because the more you think about like actually what Charlie represented to the Israeli donor class, and what, like, how quickly a powerful force in the green side of their ledger can very quickly become a force in the red side if he starts to say the wrong things, with the youth movement already moving away from Israel. It feels like it's pretty clear based on the statements that have been coming out and the ways that he was trying to host the Turning Point events, the people he was inviting on stage. It feels pretty clear that Charlie was expressing that his value of free speech was more important to him than his value of Israel first. And as he started to express that feeling, it looks like, based on the reporting, that he got pushed back hard, and that only intensified his feelings of free speech being more important. And oh boy, are they not about to let the largest political organization in America slip out of their control. Because you think about the right wing in America, it's the Daily Wire, Turning Point USA, PragerU, like the RNC, right? Like, what organizations even make up the right wing in America, like the alternative right wing, other than, like, not Fox News? And Turning Point and the Daily Wire are like the two biggest fixtures, and we both know what money built those two organizations. And so to imagine a Turning Point where Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, and Candace Owens are headlining those shows, and half of the audience are already groypers anyways, like, that is an existential threat to Israel. As far as the investigation right now, man, I'm just here to listen and see what everyone's thinking. It feels like a really interesting sort of moving consensus where there's experts and reporters and journalists all sort of following threads day by day and sort of working off of each other's work and analyzing videos and going back and forth. It's really cool to watch everyone sort of honing in together on the various most likely theories. Right now, it feels like we're sort of in a space where there's a large group of people honing in on a shooter back right of Charlie and trying to triangulate where and who that might be. And then a whole bunch of people that are grouping up around sort of like other more alt theories that involve more assumptions, but are still worth looking into. And I'm just trying to take it all in.
Ian, it's an honor to have you, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we got Maze. Maze is an amazing co-host. If you guys aren't following Maze and Wolf and all these people up here on the stage, please make sure you give them a follow. I know we got a lot of hands and a lot of people, and a lot of the information that we've been getting, amazingly, has been coming from all of you guys. Really, it's been really impressive watching everybody in the community come together and just kind of crowdsource this, and just little pieces. I know Candace. I don't know if you guys seen her show today, but she had some Maze, you probably watched it. There was a Natalie girl that DM'd her. What was that all about? Do you want to cover that?
So I watched most of it, and I like the main part that caught my attention were about when she was overhearing the conversation where they were talking about bees. I couldn't wait to get to that part, but I can go find that clip and play it, and we could talk about the Natalie part. Or do you know what the timestamp is? I could play it.
I'll grab it for you in here in a second. You know what? Then let's jump into this.
The room is so lit. Let me just say congratulations, okay? You just plop up on the scene and you got a room full of people, 3,000 people. Guys, repost the space, please. It's about 10 minutes shy of 9 p.m. here on the East Coast. I mean, look at this panel. You know what I mean? Look at this panel.
It's well deserved, right, Mace? It's about time that Ryan gets the people that he deserves. I mean, I swear to God, it's about time he gets a full house. So proud of you, man. It became a long way, brother. Long way.
100%.
Hey, man.
Yep.
I wouldn't be awake if it wasn't for Wolf holding my hand. He was the first one running the JQ radio and the JQ spaces. And I would get in there talking about child trafficking, and he would do special spaces in the JQ radio just so I could come and talk about child trafficking. And people would come out and attack me. I was calling it Israel, and I was calling them, I forget what I was calling them, but I wasn't saying the word Jews, And then finally, after enough was enough, I think it was actually 1984 who sent me the video of the rabbis, literally sucking a little, they call it the Mavitzka buffet, and it's 8 days after a Jewish child is born. They take him to a synagogue, which is the synagogue of Satan, and they literally mutilate the child's genitals. They cut off the tip of its penis, and then the rabbi literally sucks the bloody foreskin off that penis. And once I saw that video, I was just whoa, this isn't, it almost goes from being a religion to literally a demonic cult. And then you start looking into the amount of babies that have died from herpes alone in New York City, and you just think, if that was a Christian, if that was a Catholic priest that was doing any of that, oh my gosh, we would be burned at the stake, right? It would be completely not tolerated as some type of religious exemption from, the ability to mutilate and then orally rape a child 8 days after it's born. So that's what really, really woke me up. And I know a lot of people are brand new and they're just waking up to this stuff. When you start going down that rabbit hole, it's just going to get a little bit darker and darker. But I want to play this video from Megyn Kelly. She goes into this about, basically they put a hex on Charlie Kirk, and it's kind of interesting. So I want to play this for you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It went mega viral today. Play this video from Megyn Kelly. Give me 1 second. She goes.
Also, Ryan, we call it the rabbi hole.
Take the mic for a second.
Let's go. We like to call it the rabbi hole, right? Instead of the rabbit hole. But yeah, if we're waiting for Ryan real quick, why don't we just go over one hand real fast?
Oh, I'm ready.
You're ready.
Let's
go.
Yeah, let's do it. Here it goes. You guys ready?
Eve. It makes clear that the writer contracted for the curse in late August. She says she wanted it to line up with the new moon in Virgo, which this year meant August 23rd. That tracks because she points out in the piece that by August 24th, she was waiting impatiently for results. The witch, they reveal, promised on August 23rd that, quote, you will see the first results within 2 to 3 weeks. This was 18 days before Charlie was killed. Not satisfied with this curse, the amped up one, alone, Jezebel reached out to a, quote, third witch, Priestess Lilith. Jezebel opined, if enough people cursed a single person, would the results be stronger? Quote, when I asked her if she'd noticed more political figures being targeted these days, she said yes. The next day, Lilith sent the Jezebel writer proof of the hex she had cast, quote, a photograph in flames, the edges slowly curling inward, engulfing Charlie's ridiculous, scrunched up little face. She whispered, I imagine, writes the Jezebel reporter, trust the unseen. Chills, writes Jezebel. Sunday, August 24th passed, writes the author, and nothing. Monday, August 25th, still nothing. Tuesday, August 26th, nothing. But then she writes, she reminded herself, this is witchcraft, not Amazon. The forces operate on their own schedule. The Jezebel writer ends the piece as follows. So, did my Etsy curses work? Time will tell. The forces move in mysterious ways. And as the priestess Lilith reminded me, spell work is a collaboration between the caster, the client, and the universe itself. For now, we can only trust in the timing of the great unknown. To you, Mr. Kirk, may the rash come swiftly. 2.5 weeks after those curses were requested and cast, 2 days after Jezebel published that article, Charlie was killed by an assassin's bullet. I know what you're thinking. This is a bullshit Etsy curse. Why are we spending time on this? I'm going to get to that in a minute. Stay with me for now. After the shooting, Jezebel took down the article, quote, on the recommendation of our lawyers. They underscored that the piece was meant to be humorous, intended as satire, and that they made clear they wished Charlie, quote, no physical harm, which is not the full story now, is it? At the same time, they said of the article, quote, we stand by every word, which means they did want him cursed. They wanted everyone to hate him. They wanted it to be powerful, and they wanted Charlie, quote, punished for years of regressive rhetoric. They also made clear that taking down the article was, quote, driven by an abundance of caution for our staff. In other words, they were worried about violence against them by Charlie Kirk supporters. They also, they wrote, wished, quote, to avoid the piece being misused in a tense and volatile environment. There was not, they made clear, any change in their editorial judgment. In fact, they emphasized, quote, we may republish at a later date. They then rambled on about the country's gun problem and the heated political divide in the country and free speech, noting they do not actually condone political violence. Now, again, you may be saying to yourself, why are we talking about Etsy curses? None of this is real. Well, 2 things. First of all, Christians are opposed to casting spells or trying to contact the spirit world. Not only because they believe there's only one God, but because they acknowledge the existence of the devil and evil spirits. Here is Father Mike Schmidt. He was on the day Charlie died, helping us through that as well. But he came on our show first time a couple of years ago, and here he is discussing this very subject.
The motivation behind the Ouija board is actually something where I'm trying to contact spirits. And someone could say, well, I'm trying to contact nice spirits or good spirits. And the unfortunate thing we know about is that, yes, when God created angels, he created angels. They're good, they're beautiful, they're in harmony with him. But also we know that a number of those said no to God. A person who's reasonable would say, but I'm just playing. And I would say, I completely understand that. And then I would say, at the same time, you remember the movie The Exorcist?
Of course.
Yeah, how can you forget it? So that story is based off of 2 true stories. And one of the true stories is, I believe, about, if I get the details right, is about a young man who was at, kind of like a birthday party, some kind of celebration of some sort with kids. And they just busted out the Ouija board and just played for fun. But that was an entry point for what ultimately became a possession.
In other words, you're playing with fire, messing with this stuff. There actually are demons in this world. Calling up the spirit world, in particular the devil's spirit world, can actually have real world consequences. It's not something to mess with. Many Christians believe this. This is dangerous. It's not a game. It's literally evil. Second, this is what I really want you all and the people at Jezebel and Etsy to know. Erica and Charlie Kirk heard about these curses, and that news genuinely rattled Erica in particular. She knew Christian teaching on the subject. She loved Charlie, absolutely. And she was scared when she heard of the curses Jezebel had called up. So much so that she and Charlie contacted a friend who I believe she said was a Catholic priest, but definitely a friend, and asked him to come over and pray with them over Charlie the night before he was murdered. She eventually worked it through, and so did Charlie. That, as she later told me, weapons will form but not prosper. that Satan and those witches have no power. Of course, God's will is the one that matters, and his blessing over Charlie was real and palpable. All you had to do was spend time with Charlie to know that. But why torture a family like this? A Christian, believing family. Why do this vile thing to a young couple? Parents to two babies, living in accordance with the gospel, deeply in love. Yes, political, but doing nothing other than speaking publicly about their views and their desires to make other people's lives better. Who would do such a vile thing? Jezebel, that's who. And unbelievably, Etsy.
All right, guys, that's a lot to unpack there. I know we got a huge audience, and again, thank you all for showing up. Thank you for sharing this content and continuing to support these spaces. We're going to keep doing this every night. We're going to try to do one. I'm actually going to be probably going to join the Tim Pool podcast to do a show on Friday morning with Myron Gaines. So if you guys want to hear this, break down these theories and bring all this news to the mainstream there and really unpack this. I don't know how deep they're going to let us go on that show, but it's going to be interesting. I just got the invite a minute ago. So sounds like everybody's starting to wake up and everybody's starting to ask the same questions that we are. So I don't know how much longer the FBI is going to be able to cover this up. I know Candace also basically got the same intel that Redacted did. So this was last Friday afternoon. Redacted was getting ready to go out of town with his son, and he messaged me and he's like, "Hey man, I got big breaking news." He goes, "I don't know if I'm going to break it tonight." He's like, "I'm super sick, but I feel like I got to get it out there." He goes, "I just got a call from some inside sources that said that the FBI is basically, they're going to wrap a bow on this, try to do a case close, and just basically get the sheriff's office as well in Utah to pretty much close this case, close, investigation closed. We got our guy, let's move on." And then Candace, I believe, got some intel as well. She said something about that on her show, that basically the FBI is putting pressure on the Utah Sheriff's Department, or I believe it's the Sheriff's Department who's doing the investigation or in charge of the investigation, trying to put pressure on them to basically say, "Hey, we got our guy, no lone shooter on the roof, no more, nothing else to investigate here. Let's wrap it up, let's close it up," and kind of just go about our way. But now, with all this evidence and everything that we've been presenting, I think it's going to be kind of hard and unrealistic to think that they're actually going to be able to actually get charges to stick on this guy. We covered it yesterday, the video that with Kyle Seraphin, and he was explaining why Kash Patel and Bongino should have immediately recused themselves from this investigation. So that's an interesting angle is there. I know we got a lot of people up here, and I want to give everybody a chance to jump in and talk. Do you guys want to jump in? And Maze, you want to talk about this for a second? And then I also want to play, because she was very adamant about, his wife, Erica. And I know that there's a lot of people that have been, saying a lot of interesting things about Erica. I've completely avoided and stayed out of that topic out of respect for his wife. But I've gotten so many DMs that I think it's at least fair that we at least give a little bit of airway to it and let Sean kind of explain what he's uncovered, and then we can kind of go from there. But I'd like to let everybody jump up here and throw some hands around for a few minutes, and then we'll go for maybe like another half hour, and we'll jump into the Erica stuff.
Ryan, I just want to jump in real fast and say, I put up in the nest my long thread on what I just talked about. So if anybody missed it or wants to review it, it's up in the nest. You can bookmark it. It took me like 29 tweets to basically say what I said in the space. So it's not for the faint of heart, but it's up there. Put it in your bookmarks or whatever.
Sweet. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it. Yeah, and just on the Erica thing really quickly, even though we're going to get to that in a minute, is that it's not like, we're sitting here being all judgy about how she, mourned and whatever. Like, no, let's just talk about objective facts, things that would really make you go, and and it's really just asking questions, because that's what we can do. That's what we're allowed to do. That's what we should do. We've been doing it about everything else, but yeah, it's not like about bashing. I think it's very important to understand the political environment that we're in, and the people that are going to be. I think she's kind of moving into a role anyway. But anyway, with that being said, let's go to Carlito. Then we're going to go tap in with Coyote. And guys, repost the space, please.
Okay, I want to talk about the ballistics. I do executive protection for like A-list celebrities. So the people in my field that do this kind of work are military, law enforcement, medical people. I think even one of the owners of the EP team who does the Kardashians is Israeli, ex-Israeli. So that's the nature of the business that we do. I train in long-range shooting, so I know ballistics. I use the app. The official story that the FBI is giving is puzzling to a lot of us who understand ballistics. The lethality of, let's say, the difference between a pistol round and an AR-15 5.56 round is the lethality is in the velocity. So a bullet traveling at 2,400 beat per second is going to create a secondary cavitation wound. So it's going to enter the neck and expand. The bullet that they're saying it came from, 30-06, is a much larger than a 5.56 bullet. And from the rifle that they're showing with that barrel, it should be traveling somewhere between 2,500 feet per second and 3,000 feet per second, which means it's not gonna hit a bone and go 90 degrees down. That was a weird TP USA. Somebody posted something that he said that's what happened. That's not how bullets act. The skin is elastic. Think of it as a big, heavy rubber band. Okay. The way I explain to people is I hammered a nail through a rubber band. The entrance hole is actually going to be smaller than the bullet. It's not going to leave a quarter size or a dollar size wound that we see, which is why a lot of us are puzzled who watch the video, because entrance wounds don't look like that. That looks more like an exit wound to a lot of us. At first, I thought it was ballistic plates because you could see straight lines in his shirt, but that's wire. The reason why there are no straight lines in symmetrical objects in nature, so there's definitely no ballistic plate, and there's video in the back showing an earpiece. So the problem a lot of us are having is the size of the entrance wound is not in accordance with what we would see typically. It should be much, much smaller. And the exit wound, the bullet traveling 2,500 feet per second is designed to, it'll go through your neck like butter, put it that way. It'll break steel ballistic plates. So a lot of us are like, so there's been some alternative theories from military snipers that I've seen. A lot of them are saying it came from the back of the, which I tend to agree makes the most sense, from the back of the head. Maybe like a suppressed 300 blackout, something with not as much velocity, because the exit wound from the front of the neck would be much greater. So that could be at a closer distance. Somebody, and again, if it's a trained nation-state actor, which we can't rule out, he's not going to be on the rooftop. Like, people need to stop looking for the trained sniper on a rooftop, for all these cameras. He's going to be inside a building. He's going to have a suppressed rifle, so you can't see a flash. He's going to use subsonic, so you're not going to, which is the theory that Zeb, I want to give him credit because he's actually done great work. If anybody knows his name, Zeb over the...
Zeb Boykin.
Yeah, he first put forward the theory, and this one makes the most sense, is that it's a suppressed round from a closer distance. And if it's a trained nation-state actor, he's going to be inside the building, and you're not going to see the flash. If you watch the video of the actual shooting, you see everybody should look to the direction of where the sound they perceive is coming from. Nobody looks straight back for a few seconds. Everybody's just, there's a couple of reasons that could be. Again, the location, it's weird acoustics because of all it's like an amphitheater with all the buildings. But there's no clear indication from the sound of everybody looking in one direction, which is unusual. The entrance wound is something, the size of the entrance wound is something that troubles a lot. So Zeb put forward the theory that it's probably a suppressed 300 blackout, which he thinks it's at a lower velocity, which, remember the lethality. So if it's a suppressed subsonic, which means it's traveling under 1,200 beat per second, it's not going to have that big blowout that we would get from a bullet traveling 2,500 beat per second. So that one makes more sense ballistically. But as for the official FBI narrative that bullet's going to be traveling 2,500 feet per second and just make a 90-degree turn when it hits the opponent, no, that's not. I don't know any shooter that thinks that's in the realm of possibility. It's like 1 in 1 million, 1 in 1,000 maybe, tops. So, if
Carlito, wouldn't there have been a lot more blood?
Okay, the exit wound should be a lot of blood. The entrance wound is, so I have a coworker who hunts with 30-06. He'll tell you, he showed me pictures of how it operates in the body of the animals he kills. He says he has to feel around for the entrance wound with his fingers. And it goes inside and it creates a secondary cavitation wound. but it also goes through like all this muscle and the meat, like way more than 10 inches. And you can actually see the burn streak. It turns blue, the meat, not to be too graphic, because this person we're talking about, I want to be careful, but it actually turns the meat blue from burning from the bullet. So, yeah, and remember, Alex had bigger bones, more muscle, so it's not Charlie's Kirk neck. He doesn't look like he works out. It's
Carlito, I'm saying like on the ground. Like, we don't see any video footage that anyone took of like, oh, here's Charlie Kirk's blood on the ground. Like, they could have been plugging it with their finger to hole, but there would still be blood on the ground, right, guys?
So are you talking from the back of his neck, not the front?
Anywhere, like, they just...
I don't see it on the table.
Hey, hold on, guys. Let's go in order and let's keep with the hand. So hold on a second, guys. Go ahead, Carlos.
So what you see, and then I think there's a doctor in there, and he can verify.
But what exit wound are you talking about? Because did I miss something today?
There is no exit wound officially, as far as I know. So what we think is the exit wound is the front shot that we're seeing, because it's a $250 size. That's not something that's usually so. And then what you're seeing is the blood gushing up is an arterial bleed. So it tends to flow like pulsate, and it's brighter red because it's oxygenate.
So Carlito, quick question before you go on any further, just to make sure I understand. So you think it went in the back and then, or how? Okay, where did it go in then? I'm sorry.
So it would go in from the back of his right side, somewhere towards around this right side ear area, possibly his hair, and then it would come out.
Typically bleed the entrance wound? Would it typically? Because this is what Candace Owens said. Now again, we only just can go by what she says. She said that she reached out to the guy that took the footage, and he didn't send it to her. I don't know if he has yet, but she was able to watch it on FaceTime, and she was like, I was just shocked that, like the only thing that really stood out to her the most was that there was no blood. And she had him rewind it over and over again, and said that from that camera view that was directly behind him that she got to see on FaceTime, that there was no blood. She said there was a little blood on the left hand, and she found that to be strange. But that was what she said. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but I just
so that kind of lit the expert military community on fire when she said that, and they made a whole bunch of videos the day after she said that, because she didn't realize the significance of what she was saying. Carlos, I would be curious if you get the same read on this as me, because it seemed like all the experts that I was seeing watching that were like, well, that's very clear evidence that it's an entrance on the back and an exit out the front, because there'd be no scenario where we wouldn't see blood in the back where the exit wound should be. But Candace didn't realize that when she said it. She commented on that again, I think today on her show, or maybe it was yesterday.
Yeah, I gotta go watch the whole thing from beginning to end. I was like driving, and it was in and out, but I hated to like get out of my car. So like, but yeah, she's been lit, and I just can't help but to literally be addicted. I love me some Candace. Okay, so Coyote. Oh, Carlito, were you done, love? My bad.
No, Ian asked him that question.
Anytime, Ian. You know you like co-host up.
Well, Ian asked Carlito that question. He said, is that consistent? Go ahead.
Yes, that's very consistent with what I'm saying and what everybody's saying. Is that, remember what I told you about the skin being elastic, like a thick, heavy-duty rubber band? Your skin will actually contract, so the hole's going to be small, and all the energy, all the foot per poundage is going to go forward. So it doesn't. So you're not. So that's why the entry wound that we're being told in the front of the neck is more consistent with the exit wound, and you're not going to see a hole. It might not even be visible because it's going to be so small.
Copy. Real quick before we go to Coyote, right? We have dirty requests sitting down there. So I know there's a lot of honorary co-hosts here, like Ian Markham, Sam Parker, and Ian Carroll. But if you guys are done talking, don't think this is bad feelings or anything. We're gonna drop you and get some new people out here. Okay? So we have dirty people requesting. So we're gonna kind of move along, go through some hands. But yeah, Mace, take over. Do your thing.
Okay, look at you. He's like, yo, I'm gonna do my part. That's what's up, man. I missed you, Wolf. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. It's been a minute. I followed you back too. I think we need to make a little call chat so we keep track of who we have up here and who has to drop down and all that stuff. All right, I'll be back. Working out. I'll be right back.
Hey, I got a question for either Ryan or anybody. Could be Ian or Ryan or anybody. This 150 million that allegedly Charlie turned down. I have a commentary about that, but first, has anybody? What's the latest on the source of that and the verification on that? Does anybody know like how definite that is?
Yeah, it's a very important question. We know that the Zionists all came out and ran a counter-propaganda campaign on it that basically were trying to misquote it as being like the claim was that Israel was going to pay him 150 million, and that never happened. But the reporting, I think, is coming from Blumenthal at Gray Zone, and I don't know if we've got it confirmed beyond his reporting, but it was 150 million coming through the Zionist donors. Was sort of the offer being made, so sort of roundabout Israeli funding like normal. So personally, I give Blumenthal's reporting a lot more weight than the Zionist denials. But I would be curious to get some corroboration on that. I don't. Does anyone know if Homeboy from TPUSA that did the podcast with Alex Clark, do we know if he commented on that in that interview? Because he said a lot of things about a lot of the current.
Was that Andrew Colvett or whatever his name?
Yeah, Andrew. I kind of feel like he mentioned it today in that interview, or yesterday, whenever that came out.
I'm 99% sure that Candace said it's 100% fact. And I have to go back, but I remember that standing out to me that when she said all the stuff she was going to go over, and she wouldn't say that.
Yeah, correct.
Unless it was, you know what I mean? I think she's very careful with
Yeah, and she pointed out that exact sort of false way of framing it, that they were trying to frame it as though it was coming from Israel, and that's not what was being claimed, and that's not what happened. It was through the donors.
Yeah, what was the guy's name? It was oh my God, he's that guy.
Yeah, but she did name him. And it's aside from that too, there's also the guy that recently, like 4 days before the shooting, pulled his funding and then brought it back in. So it was not just offers of more money; it was also money being taken out of TPUSA by Jewish donors as well.
And then apparently put back in after he took it out. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Because I was going to say,
it was the dude that went and met with them, that took them to that place a couple of nights before where they were trying to have it. I believe that's it. I will confirm. Thank you for saying
think that Candace was sort of insinuating that, but I'm not sure. I don't want to put words in her mouth. Because you're right.
Well, didn't Robert Schulman stop his donations to TPUSA a couple days before Charlie died?
That is the guy that pulled his donations.
He pulled it, yeah.
He asked for his name and everything, all their brand to be taken off or something, and then reversed that request as soon as Charlie was killed.
Well, there is hard evidence that not all the investors were happy with how the fund was performing, which does lend credence to my hypothesis. What I wanted to say, it's actually less damning if the 150 million comes directly from Israel, because say you're Charlie Kirk and your enemies are painting you as this Israel shill and not America first, and in Charlie's heart, he loves Israel, but he is America first. Charlie's going to be like, well, I don't want to take $150 million from Benjamin Netanyahu or Israel, because that's obviously going to paint my enemies as being correct. He would rather it come through donors, right? That's what Charlie would rather. He'd rather it come through a donor network and not so overtly from Israel. So I don't have a problem if it were coming directly from Israel. I don't think it means as much as if he turned it down coming through the typical donor network. I actually think that is more suggestive than having turned down something directly from Israel.
Completely agree, Sam. It's more significant both. So just to clarify, if I heard you right, you're saying that it's a more significant disavowalment of the Israeli relationship as it stood by Charlie to say no to the donors, because it is a more subtle way that he could say yes to if he wanted to. But twofold, it's also more indicative of the problem, which is the true nature of the problem is actually, it's like AIPAC. The problem is not that Israel can openly give money. The problem is that there's a system baked into the cake whereby we can pretend like Israel's not giving money because it's just donors, quote unquote. But it's like, ultimately, we all know what the system really is. It's this grand subversion of the nature of the system.
And if I'm Charlie, it would make sense to say, no, I don't want it directly from Israel. That's a little too on the nose. Like, can we maybe funnel it through some donors, right? Like, I think it would be fair. So that's exactly, you got it. Like, so I want that nailed down. Like, we need to nail that down, because I think that is a key point.
But the fact that he turned it down is super significant, because that is a strong statement of like him acknowledging the subversive nature of that relationship and understanding the implications that that money is not free. There are strings attached to all of that money.
Hey, Mace, Truth Teller wanted to jump in there too.
Because what did they expect in return?
Yeah, let's proof you up. Yep.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for hosting the space. And yeah,
What up?
good seeing you guys. Yeah. Thanks for hosting the space. I will say follow the money as well. One of the things that Charlie Kirk had mentioned before, he liked to give a lot of credit to also Ben and David Horowitz from Anderson Horowitz. They heavily funded TPUSA initially, along with the Adelsons. He got a lot of funding, millions and millions of dollars of funding from them. But yeah, it was Bill Ackman that put pressure on him to take the money, essentially. He had a little gathering at his place in New York. Just, I forget the name of the area. Slipped my mind. But there were some other influencers there as well. They were putting pressure on him to take it. He was hesitating, dragging his feet. He said no. And essentially it was like a plata or plomo situation. You know, it's either, bullet to the head or take the cash. And so or in this case, bullet to the neck. So he chose, I guess, unfortunately, the bullet to the neck. That's what he took. In addition to that, you also had, you had Bill Ackman. You also had the Robert Schiller, you guys already mentioned. He withdrew funding, and then he offered to bring it back as well. So there were multiple donors. These were just four of the top ones. There were other ones as well. There's lots of Zionist Jew billionaires that were funding TPUSA, and they weren't satisfied with the direction it was going, and so that's why, they sent him a message after he, wouldn't recant some of the statements he was making. But Sam Parker mentioned earlier that, again, what he was doing, because he had this one rabbi who was serving as his Hasbara coach, that he was practicing his debating skills with to see, what other strategies he could use to try to, let's just say gaslight the youth or, defend Israel's case, make the case for Israel, similar like what Alan Dershowitz does. And it seemed like his efforts were genuine. The rabbi was, for the most part, satisfied, but I guess they weren't satisfied. They don't like it specifically when you call out certain entities, like say AIPAC, or when you're saying asking them to declassify the Epstein files. That's a hard no. Or even calling out Netanyahu. They don't like that stuff. So he crossed a few lines, wouldn't take it back, wouldn't take the money, and so unfortunately they took action against him. And I just gotta offer my own input here. I'm still a little shocked. We're still discussing the shooting almost 2 weeks later, and that FBI shut down the investigation. And they still haven't really provided a final outcome or a final report. We'll see what they come back and say. But the fact that the surgeon is saying that there's no exit, or there's only an entry wound, there's no exit. That's right. Nothing really adds up to me here, and for all intents and purposes, I wouldn't put it past them if they've staged this whole thing, and we're dealing with a patsy type situation similar to JFK. But again, it's still early, and I don't think we'll ever know who the real shooter was, because they likely took off in a jet back to Israel. In addition to the fact, don't forget, they published a book the day before, on 9/9, the day before the shooting. How did they know? Except in the book that you can't find on Amazon or anywhere anymore, he apparently survived the shooting. By the way, Simpsons had a similar episode as well, except it was a Homer Simpson that apparently took a bullet, similar type scenario, under a tent. I've got the graphic, and they made a movie as well. You guys might have discussed it. It was Kirkland, Charlie Kirkland, who got shot, similar scenario, similar date. It was on September 10th as well. A lot of parallels, and that was a movie that was made 20 years ago. Who knows what's really true? But there's no coincidence or accidents here. And have you guys covered Erica yet? Or do you?
We're going to do that in 8 minutes, Truth. So please stick around.
Pause on that. I got a lot more to discuss on Erica.
And we got one more hand. I know we could probably get to Coyote really quick. I know you had your hand up. And if you guys are up here on stage, you guys want to talk, please throw your hand up. Like Wolf said, we got 32 people now waiting in the queue. So after you guys grab a mic and say what you want to say, we're going to kind of cycle some people through to get some more hands up. Go ahead, Coyote.
Yeah, we can go Coyote, and then Destiny's been waiting a long time, too. Go ahead.
Appreciate it, man.
Okay, go ahead, Wolf.
Appreciate it. It's an absolute honor to be up here with such real patriotic Americans, even if you don't get all the credit. Ian, Ryan, bro, I'm happy as hell for you, dude. I'm glad that how things are going. Maze, Wolf, Ian, everybody. I mean, you already know what it is. I wanted to say first off, I'm still looking at the drone thing because it was seen I think it was 2.5 seconds after the drone was last spotted. You could hear the obvious gunshot, but I kind of wanted to bring something to the table that Destiny led me on. She posted something, and I put this out there because y'all are some fantastic researchers and whatnot, and you can't ever count anything out. But Destiny had posted about this Delta database center, and I just started looking into it. And I tell you what, I put some of the stuff in the purple pill, and I put one up in the nest about the two Davids. Well, this shit, man, I'm telling you, I've never seen anything this crazy that everything leads to the IDF, and it goes to Northwestern University, which they have the Kellogg School, which is highly funded by J.B. Pritzker, which allows IDF, students, I guess you say, to take courses there. But the funding, it's Creekside, Financial, Creekside Energy, and then you got the one over there. Anyway, I put it up in the nest, and I just wanted y'all to take a look at it because it's always like follow the money, right? Well, the database center is going to be the world's largest, 40 miles north of Orem, okay? But the Orem FiberNet, that's who's going to be, doing the project. But all these sponsors, all these, the people that are backing it financially, promote all of them. It all ties into this Unit 8200 thing. And it's actually disgusting to see a lot of the people, and they all, not to mention, it has the Meta and what is it, SpaceX CEO and all that, or I think it's the CEO, but anyway, they all graduated from Northwestern University in the class of 95. It's just too many coincidences to not be real. I do not know if this has anything to do with Charlie Kirk's murder, even though it was 40 miles away, even though it has hella Israel influence. And we're talking about everything from what inspired Pegasus. But I just want to kind of put that out there and, for you guys to take a look at. The guy's name was David. Hold on, I put it up there again. Anyway, it's up in the purple pill. Up in the nest, the one about the two Davids, because you have a David, he's over the Northwestern Kellogg, whatever program, or it's the Kellogg, whatever program anyway, but basically the one that accepts the IDF. These people from Israel to take a course in America, and it's kind of over with intelligence and stuff. And then you also have one that is a part of the actual backing, the funding of this whole data, this big database center. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. And again, man, Ryan, bro, I'm keep doing what you're doing, bro. And Ian, much love, bro.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Let's go up. Appreciate you, Coyote. Make sure you guys are all swinging over there and giving Coyote a follow as well. He put some of the best spaces together and get some amazing, amazing guests in here from both sides of the aisle. Coyote's one of the few people I don't have time to tolerate, the wild people on the left, and Coyote does that, and it's pretty interesting to hear those spaces. So give that man a follow as well. And Destiny is probably one of the best grassroots OG investigative journalists when it comes to the finders called the Epstein COVID-19. There's very few people that are as knowledgeable as Destiny, and she'd like to cram up and grab the mic right now. So go ahead, Destiny.
Yeah, no, I will definitely jump in and thank you for those kind accolades. They're undeserved, but I appreciate them. What Coyote was speaking of, the Utah data center was one of the very first things that I pointed out. By the way, it's 15 miles outside of the university. It's not 40. It's much, much closer. And but about 40 miles is where they just announced the second week of August that they will be putting the world's largest data center right outside of Orem. So that is coming. Along with it will be Palantir contracts. Along with it is Anduril contracts. Along with it is a whole bunch of the nasty companies that we don't like. However, the one that's already there 15 miles down the road from the university is called the Utah Data Center. It's one of the data centers that was exposed by what they were doing with Five Eyes from Edward Snowden. It was a huge leak that they were very unhappy about, but it's one of the main Five Eyes hubs in terms of where they gather intelligence. And that data center gathers all the CCT camera footage, all the text messages, all the emails, in the area and further outside of the state, of course. I mean, they have exabytes worth of data that they're constantly sifting through and personalizing, and who knows what they're doing with it. But the idea that they wouldn't have been able to know anything about these messages and took so long to find them, this weird Discord, everything was just so unnatural when you realize that they have control over all that already. But that's not what I necessarily wanted to dive into. I wanted to point out another, because I look for inconsistencies. I'm not necessarily trying to understand a situation that I wasn't there to see and everything. I'm just trying to see what is different this time. And the surrounding things alone, I think, are very interesting, and one I want to point out really quickly, and then I'll shut up and you can bring somebody else up if you want to.
All right, I paused it real quick. I'm gonna put this up on the screen. I want y'all to know this is a recording. This is a recorded space. If y'all go on X, you can do it yourself and support the people that are up here that have actually done the work. Ryan Matta is the one that put on this space and put it together. He's been doing a lot of freaking work to do this, but I know a lot of them ain't allowed on YouTube, so I stream their spaces, and I'm gonna continue it right now. But you can go on X and follow these people, and this is just a public way that we all communicate. And you yourself, just as Lolio, like I'm just a guy in a crane right now, can go on those spaces and talk to these people and put forth your research and have them help them in their investigations. All right, I'll shut up now and go back to the this is like a recorded space. It was from last night, I do believe.
Is the fact that the reception for the memorial for Charlie Kirk was historical in terms of governmentally. Never before have they had so many people in the line of secession in one place for a civilian purpose in history. This has never happened. It was the top 10. They skipped number 11, who was the Department of Labor, but then they had number 12, which was Robert F. Kennedy, for the line of secession, including the president, his entire family. But you know whose family wasn't there? Charlie Kirk's. His parents didn't go, but the entire lineage of our, we literally would have had default to Lori DeMere Chavez to be our president had, God forbid, something happened. They'd never risk that, especially since 1963 and especially since 9/11. They do not allow this number of them to congregate, and especially they were there for hours. It was hours long. So for them to all be there, 11 of them, by the way, there's only 18 people. So only 7 weren't there. Okay, 2 of them by law cannot even be there, which are the undisclosed names. So you're looking at one of the most historic events ever. Not even George H.W. Bush had this many people at his funeral, but for a civilian in a public place for this amount of time, never, unprecedented. And I just want people to think about that. Why is that? Those are the anomalies I'm looking for that tell me that something is clearly different in this instance and requires obviously our broader understanding. I just wanted to point that out for people. But I'll land.
Wow, Destiny, that's a lot to unpack there, guys. And I just want to tell everybody, this is the type of panel, these are the type of experts that we're bringing up here. And when it comes to piecing all of these puzzles together, these are the OG journalists who have been here doing this shit for years. So if you guys haven't been following these people and you guys are just waking up, there's no better people to follow. So let's get into, this is the type of panel, use this. Let's jump into this video by Sean. So this is TPV Sean. He says leaked files reveal Charlie Kirk's wife Erica is a child trafficking Mossad agent. So I'm gonna let this video play. It's 17 minutes, so we're probably not gonna go through all of it. We'll just play maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes of it, just so everybody can get an idea, and then we'll go to Truth Teller. I know Truth Teller had a lot he wanted to unpack with this, so check this out.
They told us the story was simple: a tragedy, a grieving widow, a nation watching in sympathy. But scratch the surface and the mask falls fast. The widow might not be who she says she is. Evidence is emerging that she was groomed, trained, and positioned in place, not to mourn, but to inherit. Behind her polished smile and professional public performances lies a pipeline of children moved across borders, fortunes rerouted offshore, and influence funneled straight into the hands of her handlers. This isn't a love story, it's a transfer of power, and the files we just uncovered prove it. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this operation had to stay hidden, and why they're willing to kill to protect it. Before we dive in, let me just tell you about an important brainwash the conservative youth of America with Israel First narratives.
fixing to fast forward past this shit.
Well, the renewal of the Jewish state is something that I think touches all of us. For 2,000 years, we were a stateless people. And now we have a country of our own, defended by all the brave men and women of the IDF. So anything we can do to support them, who devote their lives from preserving the state of Israel, keeping the people safe, and allowing our state to continue in very sometimes in very, very difficult situations. I have been to Israel. I've been to the border. I have spent time to the people
I'm gonna fast forward through this shit. I want to hear what the hosts are saying, not some video they're listening to.
And never competed in them out of the country, but
became something else entirely.
Sorry,
that
guys.
suggested that Charlie Kirk hire Erica. I'm assuming it was
Flag, and the official narrative makes no sense at all. There's one question.
Yeah, I want to get to where they're actually talking about.
How much are they paying my dad? Like how much is his soul? Because it seems like he has sold his soul to the devil.
Hold on. I'm getting there.
Flashed in plain sight, yet hidden from the.
And so he.
Almost
Freemason angle subtler. Adair Kent Francey wasn't just Raytheon. He chaired their Israel division, funneled billions in Iron Dome cash while Charlie's old man designed Trump Tower. Yeah, but also the bunker levels nobody admits exist. Erica inherited $23 million at 25 from a trust. Come on, that's not beauty queen money. That's Mossad's slush fund. She started Everyday Heroes as cover, funneled donations straight to pro-Israel NGOs. And that G-ring? Not grief. Grand Lodge symbol, worn by 33rd degree insiders. Delivered that speech 2 days after the shot because it was pre-taped. Voice forensics say the room echo doesn't match. Lighting's wrong, and Tyler Robinson's still denying he fired. She's carrying the legacy, all right. TPUSA is already slipping to Jewish board vets who loathe her. So expect her moved on by Christmas, maybe with a Zionist tech bro. Wonder Woman? More like Hamler who got her asset clipped.
With family ties like these, it's no wonder Charlie seemed to know that he was treading on dangerous ground. Grimacing, twitching, and betraying himself with nervous tics.
You're still playing it.
My decisions. And trust me, guys in a room eating hummus decided the solution was simple. Just kill the messenger.
Come on.
And they become about us. We must make. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that
Break the story you came to me with as well, Sam Parker's.
There's Brian.
This isn't just a story, it's a call to action.
All right, guys, that's a wrap on Sean's video and everybody's videos and all the audio and all these clips and everybody's work I've been trying to put down in the comments too. So if you guys want to go and follow them and support their work as well, Sam Parker's, Destiny's, Mazes, I'll put mine and Ian's documentary down there as well, and make sure you guys swing over there and follow all that work. Coyote's got a bunch of work too. So, and we just got a word from our friend May, says that our buddy Blake was the first one to break the story. He came to me with how you could tell that Tyler Robinson, the man on the roof, was running with what we assume would be the rifle within 3 seconds of the shot being fired, because he's the one who literally broke down the first 60-minute live stream of that gentleman walking around the campus. And he went through that live stream, and he's the one who was also recalled, like, oh, hey, in the cafeteria, you could see the crowd was getting ready to hit the deck as Charlie was getting shot. And he just happened to remember, well, that guy's running across the roof. He goes, dude, the crowd's crouching down as the kid's running across the roof. And I go, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. We went outside, watched the outside camera angle, and you can see from the time that the shot's fired to the time that crowd outside realizes, like, holy shit, Charlie's been shot, we need to hit the deck, is exactly 3 seconds. So then you go back to the inside cafeteria view and you see the man running across the roof, and you can see that he's in a full sprint as that crowd's starting to hit the deck. So that whoever took that shot literally took that shot and within 3 seconds was in a full sprint across that roof, with or without the gun. I mean, that's still up for debate. We still don't know where the shot came from. And that same surveillance footage, he also went through that video, and he was the first one to find that, oh, hey, there's a CCTV video mounted on the roof of the building directly across the street from the Low C building. And so then I hired a journalist. I paid a journalist to go back there and investigate to confirm that, hey, that's the camera that the police gave us. And not only was there one camera there, there's also two cameras. So the FBI 100% absolute has video footage of what would be the shooter in that prone position taking that shot. So at the very end of the day, like I've kind of been, trying to stay just focused on what we can and what we can't prove with this case and just trying to stick to the facts. Here's what we know happened. Here's what we can prove happened. And what we know and we could prove is that the FBI is sitting on what would be the video footage that could prove all of this and disprove all the conspiracy theories, show us a man on the roof, show him laying in the prone position, and show him laying in that prone position when the actual shot is fired. Because if he's there for, I guess, any less than 3 seconds, or he starts to run in any sooner than 3 seconds, then he wouldn't have been laying there when that shot was fired. So we can put a lot of these conspiracy theories to rest, and that's why I've been so vocal about this and say, hey, Cash, if you want to be the most transparent FBI in all of U.S. history, then go ahead and just provide us with the CCTV footage. I mean, there's so many conspiracy theories and there's so much doubt now that this FBI should be bending over backwards to do things that they maybe don't normally do in investigations like this. I mean, Cash has already pretty much violated every rule in the FBI handbook when it comes to this investigation. It's pretty embarrassing. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And I just kind of wanted to land that there. I know we got a lot of hands, so go ahead, Maze.
He should be fired. Yep, I said it. I don't care. He should be fired. Ian's hand just won. That's supposed to go to him. Then I'll go replace
I just want to jump in on the heels of the Erica Kirk rabbit hole that we opened up here a second ago. Listen to that video. These allegations around the child trafficking floating around a whole bunch for the last day or two. And I haven't gotten time to actually look into it yet. So ever since we turned that video on, I've been looking into it, and I am finding zero reporting that feels credible about this child trafficking allegation. I'm got AI searching on it. I'm looking through articles. I'm looking at Romanian articles, and all the news reporting about it is from right now, this month, since the shooting. There doesn't seem to be any evidence dating back to 2011. It seems like it was a program that she was running that was basically like a glorified gift-giving charity program where like Americans can buy Christmas gifts for orphans in Romania and they get delivered through NATO troops because they happen to be there. I'm feeling pretty skeptical based on what I'm seeing right now that there's anything sketchy about this Erica Kirk charity. It feels more like social contagion conspiracy theory.
Ian, another thing to layer on there is that this guy TP Sean, I fell in love with many of his videos because they would always say exactly what you want to hear, push things a little further than anybody else.
Yeah, and have no actual evidence in them.
Hey, the Confluence, we got hands here. We got a lot of people up here in the space, so please throw your hand up and jump in line.
I was just talking on Ian's point, but yeah.
Hey, Ron, I put your Rumble channel
on the list. When Ian talks, just let Ian speak and let's not do turn. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's my fault, y'all.
No, I'm back. It's okay. No, don't worry. I'm back now, too.
No.
I'm gonna put the German fist back down. We got it. Be here.
No, well, what I was saying is that I know Confluence. He's usually super quick, and so like, and certain people can give you that perfect chime in right in between and let it ebb and flow, but other people cannot, right? Like they'll just try to take over the whole shit.
Yeah, Confluence.
And so yeah, Confluence usually is from the ebb and flow.
Very succinctly to the conversation there. I completely agree.
Truth, jump up in here, brother. I know you had your hand up and you had a lot to unpack with the Erica stuff.
Yeah, thanks. I'll not to serve purposes of contrarian, but Ian, what I would say is maybe look into Romania a little bit more. It's very well known for human trafficking, and it's not me speaking. It's based on their own measure of human trafficking that takes place there. I'll cite the source in a second. It's based on the modern day slavery measure. Global Slavery Index.
One second, real quick, Mace. Who do you think we can drop real quick? We got Crankadone down there requesting. Maybe we can get him up real quick. But continue, Truth.
Sure, thanks. So they state that around 86,000 trafficking victims it takes place per year, and that's again a conservative measure because the real numbers are actually much higher. This is a black market, of course. And with Erica specifically, I mean, there were whistleblowers that came forward to actually describe what they saw with their own eyes. But I mean, their testimony was shut down. I mean, one of them was a teacher, Maria.
Can you find a link to that? Because I'm trying to find any kind of primary sourcing about it, and I'm coming up with nothing.
I've looked on that, and the thing is, they've scrubbed it hard because of who she is. They're trying to cover up her past. So all we can do is use circumstantial evidence. And there was actually a file number I can state. This is Romanian Child Services opened a file number 2013 R Richard Orange 4567, and then they closed it and did a voluntary relocation, and the parents were just signed off on it. I mean, they were known for splitting. I mean, they were dealing with an orphanage, right? So the kids were already split apart, and so they were just being actively trafficked under the guise of, her, distributing gifts or actually trying to help them. But in fact, they were actually put on flights, or they said, go along with Auntie Erica to like this trip to Disney World or wherever it was, and they were ending up in places like Israel and also the UK and some private islands as well. And there could be some parallels with Epstein. In fact, if you believe what Grok stated in that space that was partially cited in that video that Brian played, it was actually Epstein that connected. And I have the recording. It's all in my thread that I put on the Purple Pill. You're more than welcome to use any of it. I've added AI. I've added whatever evidence I could find. It's very difficult to find primary source evidence for this particular individual who they're trying to shield and protect and maintain a great reputation, given the position that now she has. She's now the president or the CEO of TPUSA. It's a powerful position, and you guys, as Sam mentioned earlier, they're getting dozens or even more chapter requests, and now they're also trying to exploit it and use it to recruit for the military. So they want to make sure the CEO has a squeaky clean reputation. So they're doing their absolute best to scrub her reputation. But I mean, why would she need to be in Romania, of all places, one of the most corrupt countries in the world? I even cited 7 of their prosecutors that have been convicted, not like suspected, convicted of corruption, i.e. taking bribes, to allow for criminality to just pass through. So it's one of those states similar to Ukraine and Moldova that's very well known for human trafficking and money laundering. You've got various mafias there, Russian mafias there too, where they carry out human trafficking essentially with impunity and get away with it. And she was there actively dealing with Romania angels, and there were multiple whistleblowers that came forward. They essentially just got shut down. So I know you want to operate on primary source evidence. I hear you, but it's pretty much impossible to find because they've scrubbed it. All we have are names and blogs like Maria Georgia, and also that, I also cited the Child Services file number as well. And again, I posted all this, no community notes, but Grok and AI also confirms that it did happen. This went on from 2012 to 2007. Thousands of kids were trafficked. I mean, as Maria describes it, it was almost like an assembly line. I watched them line up orphans, give them lollipops, say, go with Aunt Erica to Disneyland, kids don't come back. She posted photos, blurry, but their faces were there, and they matched the USO yearbooks from the base. So, I mean, to me, that's as close to primary sources you're going to get, but again, they're never going to let these witnesses speak, similar to, say, trying to speak up against the Clintons. Well over 40 people have disappeared, including eyewitnesses, including, say, like someone like Mark Middleton, who, set up 17 of the meetings, and they claim it was suicided, even though, he took two bullets to the chest and he was hung from a tree, if you can believe that. That was their supposed suicide. So whenever they want to, dispose of a primary witness, to make sure there's no evidence, it's going to be done under mysterious circumstances. It's the same deal with her. They want to maintain squeaky, clean reputation. But if you understand a place like Romania, it's absolutely where they want to place someone like her there, because she was acting as a Mossad agent. If you recall the recording, she made millions of dollars in the process too. How do you become a multi-millionaire operating a ministry with the help of the U.S. military?
Does this dude ever take a breath? Holy crap.
In somewhere like Romania, that's a dirt poor country. Because again, I've been to Romania myself. I've been to Constanța myself specifically. Lots of beautiful women there, etc. Great, but you'd never know there's any type of human trafficking going on because it's a black market, dark industry. But it's happening there, whether we want to admit it or not. It's the same in Ukraine, been there as well. You don't know about the crime that goes on because, again, it's happening behind closed doors. But there's, again, with the type of administrations they have there, they just turn a blind eye to it. I mean, Zelensky doesn't care. If you like, just the example of Ukraine and Kyiv right now, you've got Vitaly Klitschko, who owns over 100 brothels, known for pedophilia, known for human trafficking. Then the U.S. just turns a blind eye and is still giving Ukraine over $350 billion. Romania itself is also a NATO ally. They train pilots there, and they're helping also with the war effort, with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So these countries get a pass, and then they get exploited as well. They're post-communist to be able to carry out crimes, with impunity, not have to worry about it, and they'll implant their Mossad agents like Erica to cover it. And as you noted from the video, she's also apparently a 33rd degree Knights of Malta Mason as well. And again, it's done very well for herself, and she was groomed to be able to possibly be Charlie Kirk's handler. And then when he got out of line, now she's taken his place. But some speculation on that part of it. But again, we'll see how she operates. I didn't see her shed a tear, and her makeup was in place when she was supposedly grieving as well. She's been trained for a very long time, and Epstein was the one who again put them together and guided her through the relationship and up to the point of marriage and then beyond. So, and by the way, if you listen to the recordings that I put in my thread, Charlie Kirk himself had been to Epstein Island, and he actually defended it. And the date and the time and all the details are there. You can hear for yourself, see for yourself.
Whoa, is that a Charlie Kirk recording you're referring to?
I'm referring to a reference by AI Grok that Charlie Kirk did make one trip to Epstein Island. He defended it, said no funny business took place there. He went there and did a prayer, and it was all like on the up and up.
But did Grok cite a source for that? Because that's a fucking spicy recording. I want to see where that got said.
I'll send it. Okay, well, follow me back. I'll send it to your DM.
Because you said some really important stuff, but it got lost in a lot of that. Is like, you're exactly right that in a story like this with a person this high profile that is likely going to be groomed to be president one day, you're absolutely right that they scrub these people's records and that they conduct an internet censorship campaign around them. But you listed some very specific details that'll be very helpful to get people searching into this kind of stuff. Could you tell us the name of the whistleblower again and the case number that you said and any other specific details that people can write down and kind of like look into and try to dig more up on this?
Yes. So let me put it up in the nest, but it's in the purple pill. I'll send it to Ryan, and if you follow me back, I'll send it to your DMs as well, so you have it as reference. Take the whole thread. My Grok recording is there, so I clipped it. I put it there, and I challenged it. I didn't want to believe it, man. Like, again, for what reason does Grok have to lie? And it cites its references too. I'm like, okay, but you want specifics? No problem. It's a 2014 whistleblower, flight attendant on charter flight, swears she loaded 8 Romanian kids onto a flight marked Friends of Israel, adoption services, no return tickets, and then there was Romanian Child Services, open a file number. It's 2013 / R's and Richard, O's and Orange, /4567, and then they closed the file and did a voluntary relocation, and the parents signed off on it, and the end of that. And then there was a teacher, it was Maria Georgia, she blogged anonymously. I watched them line up orphans, give them lollipops, say go with Auntie Erica to Disneyland. The kids didn't come back. She posted photos, they were blurry, but the faces matched the ones in the USO Airbooks from the base. Again, this was in cooperation with the U.S. military that unfortunately has found itself. I mean, there's probably private military contractors there. You know, the likes of Blackwater find themselves everywhere to do stuff like this. DynCorp as well, the same military contractor that Charlie Kirk has had, some pictures with. They've also been implicated in child trafficking and also narco trafficking. So don't think that, unfortunately, you won't find any military officers that might be implicated or possibly cooperating with child trafficking, because it's happening all around the world in these third world developing countries that don't have proper rule of law or a justice system that really goes after these pedos, and they're able to operate with impunity. But again, all the evidence is there.
I put it up in the nest already. Truth, I already got it up in the nest. It's that the recording? Up? Yeah, it's up there, right? That's the one?
Yeah, it's a full thread. Everything's there. Use whatever you want. Again, this is through AI. I found whatever.
And you should definitely link up a truth teller. Like, truth teller is literally like his name says. It's truth teller. He is the OG. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you two would be making amazing work together, honestly. Right, Truth? Let's go.
Appreciate the vote of confidence.
Well, they just did, because I think two things are important to know. Truth teller never gets community noted, all right? You can take that to the bank. Anytime I need to look up something, I go to his profile. It's better than Grok. But also, Ian brought up a very valuable point, too, because that's, like, times like this, especially, right now with all of this, anything that get pot committed on, the primary source is just kind of keeping that in mind and making sure that you have it on deck and ready to go, because even though they do scrub, then there should just be being conscious and strategizing about how we parse information, what is factual, what is speculation, and even saying that like this was here but now it's gone type shit. Even that helps, because in that way you're just being as totally transparent as possible. So I think that little part, back and forth is.
And I want to add to that too, because I was at Ian's house. We were filming our documentary when they were literally scrubbing Bill Clinton's Wikipedia page in real time. Ian caught him. He's like, dude, we got to stop this. We're outside filming. He's like, dude, I got to go record this video really quick. I'm like, okay. And he goes, they're scrubbing Epstein from Clinton's timeline, and Ian can talk on that a little bit.
Well, we made a video about it that went really viral, and I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but like the next day it got put back. I presume it was just the Wikipedia editor environment dealing with a dumb edit that got made to take Epstein off of Bill Clinton's Wikipedia page, but it was pretty fucking funny.
Wow, that's nuts. And how many times have we seen and went to, they're able to scrub the Wayback Time Machine now, correct?
I fucking don't think so. If they are, that's news to me, and I don't like it. They are. I'm sure there's a way, right? But I doubt that your average Joe can deploy such a thing. I'm sure that.
Well, remember the Wayback Machine crashed earlier this year. It went down for several days. It made me very suspicious, and it hasn't come all the way back yet either.
That's true, and I was always wondering what went missing when it crashed.
And we'll never know. We'll never know. But I will say that many books that I had in my favorites that I used to be able to peruse are no longer available. I think some of that has to do with licensing.
Over 500,000 were removed, Sam. I remember somebody reporting on this shit. There was somebody that literally said the number, I think, right? Like the 500,000 books were supposed to be removed, a whole bunch of stuff. They'd kind of...
And we'll never know the websites and articles and other stuff that was archived in the Wayback. Like, we'll just never know what's no longer there anymore, right? We'll just... If it got hacked and they strategically removed things and installed a back door, I mean, who knows what. I assume for the most important stuff for me, I download it and get my own copy. I archive stuff every day, but then for the most high priority, high important stuff, I obtain my own copy and don't rely on the archive exclusively.
I mean, they went after archive.org like crazy too. Remember when they went in there and deleted a bunch of stuff as well? So yeah, it's insane.
Just a quick point about her parents as well. So, I mean, her father worked for Raytheon. He was a director. He had the contract for Israel. He sat on the chair for that, and he oversaw, the Iron Dome. So they had a pretty high-level position. And then her mother, and I have the recording by there where she admitted it, worked for the Department of Defense, National Security specifically, had her own company as well. So both very well-connected parents. The daughter that will end up has ended up in a high-level position, CEO of TP USA with well over 800 chapters in the high schools and university that's going to be used as basically the equivalent of Unit 8200 to groom these kids young, get them into the military, which is what Unit 8200 does. The equivalent of also, I'd call it a junior like Mossad type operation, because some of them can end up in the CIA or the NSA, etc. Depending on what their qualification level is, you have to go through various qualifications. But it's an opportunity to recruit talent, and that's the whole point of these types of organizations.
Well, Bruce, real quick, did you notice on our timelines lately, right, how much Judeo-Christian conversations been popping up with Mike Flynn? Everybody's pushing the Judeo-Christians like nonstop. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, I have, and that's because they're trying to salvage what they can of the reputation of Israel because it's not doing well. Sam mentioned before, now Larry Ellison's now taking over the algorithm of TikTok because, there was previously a TikTok problem because over 90% of the messaging was anti-Israel. Well, they're going to try and fix that now with TikTok, and it's the same thing with X. So they'll try to enforce more censorship and limit certain language and also, throttle posts that's, counter the so-called Judeo-Christian narrative. But, it's on us to continue to expose the truth despite the unpopularity of it.
And just to clarify on the Judeo-Christian, that term was that came out in 1821. It began to become a little more common in World War II, and oddly enough, the Cold War is whenever it became really, really popular.
Well, did you guys see the article of the ADL that they came out with going against Christianity, saying that American Christians are the biggest threat? Not only that, saying that white supremacists, most American Christians are white supremacists. Did you guys see the ADL coming out with that? I have a little article on that. It's insane. Now they're coming after Christians in America. So, yeah, we're fighting literally evil right now as we speak. Go ahead, Ryan, sorry.
Yeah, we got a little bit of breaking news, so I want to just put a pin on this. Blake he's the one who exposed the kid running on top of the roof, and he said he's got a really big something that he wants to share with us, so we're going to give him the mic for about 5 minutes and let him do his thing, and then we'll jump back into the conversation after that. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. it's not a bullet that shot him. I have video of the actual. I have video that came out of the SD card or from the camera on campus, and the microphone, or not the mic, the lavalier mic is what exploded, and it's 100% evident.
How did you get that? How did you get that evidence, and where do you have it?
You're tagged in it. It's on my page.
No, but I mean, how were you able, you don't have to tell us the source that gave it to you, but how were you able to acquire that?
I found students that were in the video, and I just went and found them, like tracked them down and paid them for it.
No way. All right, bro. That's huge. I guess we should all, if you made a video on it, right? Were you talking in the video? Can I play the audio from it and let everybody listen to it?
No, I didn't. I don't have to talk. Just watch it.
I'm confused. So exploded, and then what happened? Like,
just watch it
right now. I do see what you're saying, Blake.
His shirt moves with the shockwave before the fucking sound. It's exploding in his shirt.
And it seems to recoil. Like when you see it with that many clear frames in order, it looks less like a bounce recoiling from an impact and more like a recoil from a shot is sort of what it looks like.
Hey, Maze and everybody, I'm going to let you guys take over the space. I'm going to go watch this, and then I'm going to get a video on it.
Where's the video at so I can put it up in the nest for everybody, Blake?
I think I did put it in the nest. Let me confirm. I might have... I might...
All right, I'm just going to let y'all know right now, I'm going to play this video that they're talking about. It's going to be graphic, so if you got a sensitive... viewer, or if you've got a sensitive belly or whatever, you might want to scroll on up for a minute, because I'm gonna play this. So again, I'm about to play something graphic with the Charlie Kirk shit. So y'all, you're warned, okay?
I might have sent it to. I think I sent it to.
Yeah, it's not up here.
But let me put it in the nest.
Put it up in the nest.
It's in our.
So someone was saying it was an energy weapon too, May. Some people were saying, like, there was some conspiracy going around. Obviously, it's all speculation, but someone was saying yesterday that it was an energy weapon. So here we go. This makes plenty of sense.
Well,
I want to see the
I don't
video.
know about that. I can just tell you, there's some shit that moves underneath his shirt. I'm just a dude from Texas, so y'all got. I'm not very scientific, but I can tell you, there's something that moves underneath that shirt, and when the shirt lifts off his body, in that weird, like, it's a weird thing that occurs.
It's a weird
That's
where the blood. That's when the laceration occurs.
It looked like ripples, right, Mace?
But one thing to pay attention to is the hole is on the right side of the neck and the mic is on the left side of the neck, and it's hard to square the angle where the hole appears with where the mic is positioned.
Okay, you don't know what's underneath there. You need to go look up all the different types of lavalier microphones, and there are some that have adapters and other things, other cords that are running. So it could have been the adapter. It might not be the actual mic.
Somebody said it was a magnet. It was like
It would normally be a magnet where they have a two-part magnet system where you have one magnet on your shirt and one on the clip. But the FBI or local law enforcement has preserved that evidence so that these questions can be answered. But what I can tell you is 1,000% that there was not a gun fired that hit him. It came from underneath his shirt.
Dude, that's fucking insane. I see it. You can see the fucking smoke, dude. You can see that's what we all were looking at. Seraphin and this other gentleman were like, you see, like, there's an impact on his chest. His body reacts before you see the hole in his chest. And that's fucking it, dude. That's insane.
I know. Busted this shit wide open. And like, there's a kid that's facing the death penalty sitting right now in county, and it's fucked up.
And his parents just got $1 million goddamn payday too. We were all wondering how this fit into the puzzle. Like, he was on that. There was somebody on that roof, right? Like, this was by far.
This was orchestrated, bro. This was orchestrated.
Let me speculate though. I bet you Tyler may have been in on it. Like he'll do a little time, get a whole lot of money. They guarantee he's gonna get off.
Before
no
we start
harm,
this
no
video,
foul. Like that's why the fucking case was so goddamn messy. I mean, they broke the chain of custody with the videos. They stepped on the crime scene chair. They paved the fucking ground 3 days after he was shot there as a crime scene. I mean, shit. You know, I mean,
and this would make sense too with the medical coroner, because you can't tell me that device explodes on his chest like that and there's nothing on his chest that would indicate that that's what hit him, right? And then now they're talking about a bullet. I mean, and you could put a small round in that, right? Like that's what I think somebody was explaining, how you could put an actual caliber round. There's a really good video. I actually covered it. This gentleman does it and he explains how you could take that device and remove part of the battery pack. You could remove 3/4 of the battery pack from that mic. The mic would still look like it's recording.
Ryan, I'm picking up kids. I gotta
very clear on this, guys.
I gotta pick up. Put on mute.
Yeah, go ahead. So that video, this guy explains exactly how you would change that device into give it the ability to hold an actual round. But I thought too is like when I made the video on it, I'm like, you'd have a hard time determining if you just like normally when I hand my mics to somebody, I'm like, here, throw this on your shirt, I'll clip it on their shirt. But if it's something that went under inside the shirt,
but Ryan, what if it wasn't even a bullet in there? Just saying.
What I'm saying is you have to have the medical coroner would have to be involved in it. You'd have to shoot something out of that. Something would have to go in there and put a hole in his neck, right?
They're always involved, Ryan. The coroner is the most important link in the chain in a cover up of a case like this. Right back to okay. It's always these fucking coroners.
Do we have, like Obama's chef just magically drowned and Obama flew in his own coroner to do the autopsy on that, right? Stuff like that.
This idea of the lavalier mic, too, it answers a really important question that's been floating around through everyone's analysis that everyone's kind of not paying a lot of attention to, and it's some people have thought it was the earpiece that flew off of his ear. Range Day Bro thought it was a little bit of blood. I think we are pretty much confirmed now that it was his necklace that broke, that flies off and around his neck. We've had that confirmed from TPUSA people and from other kind of forensic sourcing and video analysis. But what no one's really talking about is that suppose it is his necklace that breaks and flies around the back of his neck like that, there's really no bullet trajectory.
This shit's crazy as fuck right here, man. Did y'all see that shit? That puff of smoke on the damn thing? Y'all think it was the mic? Holy shit.
Trajectory where the bullet is being speculated that it would hit the necklace. Like the bullet trajectory from the side shot theories are all coming down from above. And if the shot is coming down through his neck and we see the exit wound on the lower front, then it would have entered way above where his necklace is resting. There'd be no reason why the necklace would snap on impact and fly around because the bullet wouldn't have hit the necklace. And so right in, snapped right away, like as soon as impact happens, is a question that I've not been able to answer yet. And this theory kind of, this would definitely say something about that.
I'm still confused about the bullet. I mean, you don't see anything, right, when it comes down to a bullet. Anyways, I'm a complete conspiracy island with this, but there is, let's talk about energy weapons too, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
No, something blows up under his neck and puts something into his throat, right? Like that was obviously where it came from. That thing blows up on his chest and some type of projectile goes into his neck. You'd put a bullet, you'd put some type of round in there to do that. That's the most logical way to conclusion, not hit him with a laser from farther away.
If you're serious about it too, we also need to ask questions about who was it that gave this footage and how do we source that they are who they say they are, and is this footage doctored? Because the other thing is that when I'm looking at this footage, it does not look exactly like the other footage, and it's hard for me to decide if I think that's because it's just higher res. But it's not. I'm not really seeing the same moment of impact frames that I see in the other videos, and so I do.
Y'all want to jump on a Zoom? I'll show you every bit of it.
Yeah, I would be very curious to see you working through it in a video, just like in the editor.
So I'll tell you this much. I spent about 45 minutes on FaceTime with Candace Owens, and she's been blowing me up because apparently I did not transfer the file correctly. And it's 100%.
But do you know how did you go about sourcing the person that you got the file from?
I found a student that does the news, and I asked them if they would give me the file, real, just simple. And I said, I'll pay you for it. And I shot them money. Like, it's crazy. Like, I know.
That's a UT student then?
Yes.
Word. And you tracked them down. You initiated. They didn't initiate with you?
Hell yeah. Yeah, I tracked them down. Yeah, I found them on Instagram because I found what they look like. And then this is...
Nice work.
Dude, thank you. This is the tripod that they were doing the live stream. Like, go compare what was released from the university. It's the same angle. It's the same frame. It's just whoever released the live feed part of it, they blur out Charlie's head and neck and like basically above the word freedom on his t-shirt. So you can't see what I see because I have the full resolution as it was shot on the camera.
That's epic. Nice work, dude. My 2 cents is I would highly recommend that you make it available online in the full res format somehow for the other people to download, so you can get some more experts kind of backing you up and double checking your work, because I think you could definitely be onto something there. It definitely looks unlike a gunshot, but I'm no expert, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not either, but I think I can say we all think logically, so.
This is so wild.
Well, I will say, I just want to jump in on this. I've been listening very carefully. I'm looking at Blake's footage, and in this footage, it doesn't look like that lapel mic is driven into his neck like earlier analyses. It looked like the mic is jumping into his neck, and to Ian's point, it was sort of weird to accept because it would mean that the mic is traveling backwards and to the left. But in Blake's footage here, it looks like that the outer lapel mic there actually stays on the shirt. It doesn't actually go into the neck. That's
correct, which is why I think there's an adapter, and this is pure speculation. I can't speak to truth to this because we weren't there whenever he made it to the emergency room to see what was underneath there. But I do know this: there are 2 individuals that were working the soundboard, and it's the redheaded guy with the black sunglasses, who's the head of the technology portion of TP, and then there's another kid that he was wearing like a 1776 hat or something. Both of those guys were working the soundboard, and both of them were fidgeting or messing with the mic because they were actually having some audio issues with the kid that was speaking when this incident occurred with Charlie. So there is that where there were some mic issues that no one knows about because all we have lived over the last 2 weeks is off of Snapchat recordings, screen recordings, and Instagram reel recordings, 540 resolution. So now we have this just picture perfect window back 2 weeks ago, and we have no idea what was going on. So that's the other thing, is I have no idea how they mic'd him up because the student was not rolling. So I am trying to find some footage from somebody at the university where we can see the dude in either the sunglasses or the other guy with the 1776 hat putting the mic on him, because when Charlie walks out, getting out of the Suburban, and he goes to throw the hats with Mikey McCoy behind him on Instagram, the lapel mic is not there. It's not present. So between the hats being tossed out and Charlie taking his first question, they put that on him. We need to find it. We also, right now, there's some major questions when it comes to chain of custody on, like, how that equipment got there, who was watching the equipment. This is going to take the investigation into another direction, and it's it's narrowed significantly because we need
it's like it reminds us a little bit of the pages with the Lebanon pages, right? I mean, it's very deep here. This is all right. I'm just speculating now too, but my brain is cooking right now. But anyways, good shit, Play. Good shit.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning too that, you know, if you take the premise as true and you think around for a little bit, you realize that if you're going to plan a hit on a person like Charlie Kirk, you're not going to plan a half-assed hit. You would take it as seriously as it would require, which would be it's the most serious. If it's a Mossad assassination, it's the most serious assassination they've attempted, unless they were behind the Donald Trump attempt. And so there's no reason to, you know, rule out the potential of using higher, newer technology stuff that we aren't aware of. For this exact reason, because it would be so hard to pin down.
Yeah, I can't elaborate on any of that. I don't know anything about it. I can just.
No, I'm totally with it, Ian. I'm totally with it, bro. 100%.
Hey guys, it was we had this in Ryan's when Ryan gave us our space on Sunday. Somebody came in on our after space and they explained this. I just put the picture of it up top. We went to the explosive blast estimation site. I don't know who the guys were. Their name is on here. I'm not sure if they're in the space now. They were explosives people in the military. They said this was PETN, and if you go to this website, blast damage estimation is called Unsafeguard. You can actually see the explosive, the charge, and how much the range and the damage. The thing that we could not figure out where I dismissed it was because I did not see a blast. But in that video, you definitely see the smoke from the blast. And PETN has a white smoke. It doesn't have fire. Kind of like Tannerite, I think. I put that up top and I put it in the pill too.
Do we have anybody in the chat that knows this stuff? Can they come forward?
Yeah, and like if you could just go into the comments, guys. First of all, please repost the space. But if you tag, you know, Ryan or Blake or myself in your comment, then I can be on the lookout for you and bring you up. Thanks, Falu, for putting that there. I definitely want to tap in with Destiny real quick. Her hand has been up the entire time. I don't know if you wanted to comment on this specifically, or did we move too far away from it, Destiny? I'm so sorry. And then
yeah, only 50 requests too. Yeah, just saying. Like that. It's been wild. Continue. Go ahead, Destiny. Let's go.
I wanted to comment on something Truth Teller had said about the Romania aspect of Erica Fransky. I will reach out to somebody. I happen to know the royal family, Irina and Michael Kruger.
Is that
I know. It's weird, but I do know that the daughter's still Princess Angelica.
That is the most
it's been years
thing ever. That's hilarious.
That is so funny.
We grew up next to each other. Anyways, well, she got into a whole bunch of trouble because Queen Irina got into the cockfighting business. She got hooked up with this local sheriff. It's not a joke. I don't want to
talk about chickens, okay, guys? Talk chickens, gosh.
I swear.
A quick update to follow you there, Destiny. I've been digging into that as we've been talking as well, and because Truth gave more details, I actually have been able to locate some reporting that comes straight from Erica Kirk. Has Vimeo videos up about Romanian angels. That's like an ad for her charity. And at the end of the video, she gives a special thank you to Colonel Busher, 3rd U.S. Army, U.S. Marine Corps. And once you start looking into his name, he is linked to a brothel that got exposed in Romania in, I believe, 2019. And his name comes up a lot in that story. And suddenly there is a connection, and I am finding reporting on it. So these kinds of things, when it's surrounding a person that the narrative is being controlled about, you do have to dig deeper and look. And when you find the right keywords, you can often find stuff.
Ian, just to add some context to that, when these kids get sold off to places like in Israel, for instance, where they run brothels supposedly legally, they'll sell a kid for like 50 grand, and that young girl will have to work off that debt for as long as it takes, and they'll basically be locked in like an apartment room. They'll bring them like cigarettes, alcohol, whatever, and then once that debt is paid off, the kid gets sold off to like another pimp in a different brothel, and it just keeps getting trafficked until they reach a certain age, and then they're done. So they've trafficked that kid, each kid multiple times, made hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more, off each one. And and there's tens of thousands of these kids that get trafficked, and it's all profit pretty much, because there's no real cost other than, the buildings that they own, where they have these brothels and these private rooms where these kids are essentially stuck in like prisoners, sex prisoners. So this is ongoing in Israel, also across Europe, Eastern Europe especially, and then on places like Epstein Island, and also these other private islands where there's no real jurisdiction. So you can look into stuff like that. There's whistleblowers that have spoken up against it, girls that actually come forward and talked about their horrific experiences, but they get shut down. I posted one of the videos. X made me take it down. So they're trying to silence this stuff as much as possible.
That's crazy. All right. Well, so Destiny, were you done, my love?
Yeah, I was just gonna let Truth know. I'm gonna try and contact Angelica and see if I can get some details, because I know she's got a lot of friends and family, and she goes back to Romania often. And that's been at least, she's only a few years older than me. I think 3 years older than me. So she, she would at least know to she's got to be 36 or something now, 37 maybe. So I'll ask her. No guarantees, but I'm definitely gonna ask her. And the thing about the Miss contest, I'm looking for it right now. I know it's in my search history, but I came across certain images that were posted by Erica of her time in her pageants, and I was competed in the same kind of Miss contest when I was in high school for the teen one for Teen Oregon. So I'm familiar with the. No. He doesn't go to the teen ones that I know of, at least, unless you're the winner, which I was not. I didn't even place beyond regional, so it wasn't.
She didn't win either. She just made Miss Arizona, and then I don't even think she placed it for Miss USA.
I don't even think that. I don't even know how she made that, to be honest. But continue.
But there's an interesting thing, though. There's a post that she was done, it was years ago, talking about her life when she got with Charlie Kirk, and it was around the time of their wedding when I found this article. But the pictures that she provided of her story included a high school yearbook photo with her in her sash and gown and everything, which would not be, I know this for a fact, because there are strict rules in the Miss contest. You cannot be a high schooler and be in the Miss contest. You can be in the teen one, which she didn't win the teen one. She didn't even compete in the teen one. She just did the one that was when she was 23. She wouldn't have a picture of her 23 years old winning a pageant and her high school yearbook photo, which makes zero effing sense. So I'm looking for that photo right now, because that would definitively ruin this entire story about her.
If y'all are just joining, this space has been wild and informative as hell. You should go back and listen to this, or go look up the space on X from Ryan, Matta, yourself. Holy shit, this space has been crazy.
All right, let us know when you find it. I wanted to switch gears again back to what we were talking about, unless somebody else has something on this, but I want to ask a question about the kind of the new implications here with Blake's video. But did anybody have any comments with what Destiny just said?
Can I say something real quick? I want to commend everybody up here, man. Because this is the thing about it. I don't trust the mainstream media, the FBI, none of this stuff or whatever. These are the people actually putting in the work to to get the truth or whatever. And that's sad that we can't trust our government, or we can't trust anything that comes on the news or whatever. We have to this is how you do it right here. And this is where you get the truth, and that's where it's at. So I think
I do insurance, man. I do insurance. Is that not wild?
Well, now you do investigation.
Yeah, now you're in the rabbit hole, bro. Welcome to the rabbit hole.
The Texas investigation team, baby.
I'm just a train operator.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
We should remember that
We also
today
hold
is
each other
the...
accountable. Ian straight up will be like, well, do you have the primary? I need the primary. And we go back and forth until we find that shit, because we wouldn't be offended, because we're after the fucking truth. It's not about being right.
Well, it is a puzzle on the end of the day, right, Mace? So we have a lot of genius minds in here, and this puzzle is coming slowly together. So I think it's amazing, honestly. People were talking too much 2 weeks ago when I called it Conspiracy Island, and I was just like, dude, just sit back, let the pros do their work, and just slowly put that puzzle together. It's just, it's amazing to see. It's crazy to be happy with Ian Carroll, by the way. Honestly, it's just freaking awesome.
I know, we get
spoiled today, huh? Listen, maybe Ian should call Candace real quick too. Let's have Candace up here.
Yo. Yeah, Blake now has her on the Rolodex. Y'all both hit her up. Get her up in his face. We'll fucking break the internet. That would be fun.
Today is the anniversary of the delivering of the Warren Commission report to Lyndon Johnson. September 24th, 1964 is the day they delivered their 900-page report that said Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, and there was no proof of conspiracy or foreign involvement in the JFK assassination. 900-page report, complete bullshit.
And in 1967...
And by the way, it was chaired by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, former head of the CIA, Allen Dulles, and a future president of the United States, Gerald R. Ford. And it was all complete bullshit. So, like, they can absolutely lie to us with a straight face without thinking anything of it.
And what was that called in 1967 when they came out and they pretty much said that the CIA coined the term quote unquote conspiracy theorist to discredit anybody that questioned anything with the JFK?
Yeah, it creates a cognitive partition for people. They get conditioned into discarding any information that you have because now you fit under the label of unreliable, conspiracy theorists. They've think tanks take social behavioral sciences and psychology, right, the cream of the crop, and sit them and figure out how to do this to people to where they legit are able to create cognitive maps in your brain, so you're not going to be looking too hard at what they're doing. But and so really quickly about what I think that the evidence right now, if this becomes like 100% solid, which I think it is right now, right? But there's other, I guess, steps that follow. Then that means that a lot of mother effers were in on the cover up. Everything, like even the people running around saying, "Oh, they had already."
I hate to cut you off. Check this out. I put something up in the nest. I want to see if Ian wants to check that out real quick too. It's from Hustle Bitch. Okay, that's, you guys all know him probably. Check that out real quick. I'm gonna put it up in the nest. It's really interesting. It's another little piece you guys can put together. There's a little piece up there. I'm gonna put it up there. All right, continue. Sorry.
That's okay, Wolf, thanks. But what I was saying is that, I think that this is going to show a significant, the TPUSA people, there is no more excusing what they did, because clearly they were doing that shit to cover it up, A. B, all of the people around that we didn't make sense of, why is that guy walking around in circles and, looking left and right and doing all these things? There was a couple of handoffs that she slowed down the video, and I think we saw, there was just so much that, this now goes from, forget looking just for some sort of shooter and figuring out also who or what it was that was down there.
Hey, Mace.
All of the people that covered it up.
Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off. So on Hustle Bitch's post, I completely debunked that. Okay, I broke down because I have the fucking footage. Okay, I broke down what he is claiming. There are handoffs, and pulled the entire segment, the entire exchange from when the security personnel jumps over the table. I broke it out frame by fucking frame. So a sequence that took 13 seconds to do or 15 seconds, I forget what the actual real time is, it turned into 5 minutes. And it's on my wall right now. You can track every single person's hands. It just looks that way because the way that this is
share that, Blake?
I'm sorry?
Can you share it or no?
I don't know how to do
somehow a high quality to Ryan Matta.
I'm actually driving. It's on my page, 2 posts down.
If it's on his page, he's good. He's got solid work. Blake's the one who's broken every single one of his fucking stories.
You want to get Adam up here and I'll make room?
Yeah, fuck yeah, bring Adam up. Adam's my homie. I just sent him a message.
Yep.
I just wanted to put that out there because they are not passing shit off. I can track their hands.
Copy. I'm gonna make some room. Get Adam up here.
Yeah, that one's going around like wildfire right now because it does look suspicious, especially when it's on green footage and it's heavily edited. But I definitely lean in Blake's direction that when you really analyze it carefully, it doesn't. I'm not convinced there's any handoffs going on. It's very possible that some of these motherfuckers are not all above board. There's definitely some questionable behavior by some of the people that are on the team there, but I'm not convinced there's handoffs.
Well, and two, you think everybody says, right? My thought process when that kid went and got the memory card, my initial thought process was, I gotta, if I was them and then Charlie Kirk was my boy and he got shot and I was looking at this crime scene going, holy shit, I might have evidence of who actually shot Charlie on this memory card. The last thing, and if the FBI is involved in this cover up, the last thing I'm going to do is let the FBI get that memory card before I get it. Like, that would have been my first thought. I would have taken that too. But now you look at it from this angle going, oh no, that wasn't the fucking case, bro. Like, they were dismantling cameras, disturbing a crime scene, like looking all sketchy. I mean, I guess I would probably look the same way, like looking over, is like, anybody looking at me? No? Okay, cool. I'm gonna snag this fucking memory card out of here real quick and throw it in my hat, my crotch, my butt, wherever the fuck I gotta get that shit out of there.
The footage on the internet as soon as humanly possible.
Oh, instantly, dude.
If one of my bros got shot in the neck like that or something in the neck, I would have that shit out immediately. I'm telling you,
Instantly, good call, Ian.
The fact we've got crickets says everything.
Well, I mean, for all the normies, right? Like, what's also suspicious about the entire shooting with Charlie Kirk is there was not even a helicopter in the air. There were no drones being used to hunt somebody down. There was no helicopter being used to hunt somebody down. It's just all so fishy. That's just, I mean, it's just so fishy. Anyways, I'm gonna shut up. This whole thing is just so fishy.
Don't forget about George Zinn and the diversion they created.
Question for Ryan.
Go ahead, Drew.
Sorry.
Don't forget about George Zinn as well. The diversion he created, claiming that he did it. He got arrested and let the real shooter get away. And then,
he's on my video too.
I just posted a video of George Zinn.
3 times.
He knew what was happening before anyone else.
And 3 major events at of course, the towers going down 9/11, the Boston bombing, and now, this Charlie Kirk shooting, alleged shooting, whatever you want to call it now. I have doubts too now, Blake.
Well, don't sleep on the kid who was talking to Charlie when Charlie is shot or exploded or whatever. That kid is Jewish, and he was talking to Charlie specifically about transgender mass shooters, and just at that moment, that's when the shot from an alleged guy with a transgender boyfriend does the shooting.
I mean,
it
bro,
just feels
that's
a
like,
little on the nose to me.
That's a little, I mean, that's just no going out there, but anyways, yeah.
Well, hey, dude, think about the timing of the detonation of that device. Whoever was controlling that device could have done that at any time throughout the entire investigation or entire conference, right? They didn't have to take him out right at that split second. So for some reason, I don't know if it was the timing of the shooter being on the roof, but now we know how Tyler was able to get up into a full sprint within three seconds of that shot being fired, because he probably didn't. There's no way he took the shot, right? Or if he did, it was a play.
Why the fuck was he sprinting?
Jesus, let the woman speak for once.
Oh, sorry.
I'm about to drop
I didn't know you were speaking. Sorry, Mace.
Everybody, okay? Here comes my Uggs. I'm gonna drop kick all of y'all. No, I just need 10 seconds. I actually was gonna bring up, it's funny because he requested, right as I was thinking about him, I tagged you, Ryan, because Crowdsource had put a video where he was talking about specifically the drones and something that messes with the signal. I would love for you to go into that Crowdsource if you don't mind, and so we can get everybody's take on it. Because
did you know that Crowdsource is a Jew? Just want to throw that out there.
So
because he wasn't shot with a drone, and he's trying to tell us drones, and now we know the device is on his neck.
I never said.
Coyote is not a Jew.
Is he a self-hating Jew or a Jew just like a
people? Let's the coincidence, right? The coincidence, right?
This is just so. First of all, with regard to I want to address the drone thing. I'm not saying drones shot anybody. I'm saying we all know drones do ISR. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Drones fly around with video cameras, radio transmitters, radio receivers. That's known. What John Cullen says is John Cullen's opinion. I do not see any evidence that anybody was shot with a drone. I disagree with the exploding lapel mic. That's a separate conversation. The drones, I believe, were there creating a closed, secure radio network for communication and coordination among the conspirators in the assassination. Now, who they were, I don't know. Ryan, you saying I'm a Jew, that's incredibly rude, but we don't need to address that. I mean, that's just like the most ridiculous prejudice thing anybody.
Bro, weren't you and John Collin just talking mad shit about me like yesterday or 2 days ago?
Wait, those two fuckers talk mad shit about everybody.
I have nothing to do with what John Cullen says to people. Now, let me just address the drones, okay?
Are you a Jew?
I am of Jewish heritage. Why is that irrelevant?
Well, I just figured I'd be the annoying guy that asked because you said it. But thanks.
Okay, so
yeah,
Hunter
Kozar,
Jason's
clearly here engaging in good.
The more interesting thing about Hunter Kozar than being Jewish, which I don't know, he probably is, he looks like he might be, he's on tour with that guy Destiny in their Unfuck America tour, and that's being funded by Act Blue, which is an illegally organized nonprofit
that conflates a 501c3, which is a tax-exempt public charity organized under Section 170B1A6, with a 501c4 that's a political action committee. So, you know, you guys fixating on me being Jewish, frankly, is one of the most fucked up public things I've ever seen. But let's get back to the drones. The drones are flying around, and we've got strong evidence that they're engaged in disruption of enemy communications, of opponent communications. We've got Adam Bartholomew. Go call him up, ask him what religion he is. I don't know. I don't care. I just met the guy the other day. He's got a son who goes to the college, and he's there live streaming. He's an amateur live streamer. He's a hobbyist, but he's got a very setup. He's got a couple of Logitech Mevo cameras, and he's had some radio interference in the past when he's gone to these crowded locations and done his live streaming. So he had the ingenious idea of connecting the cameras via Ethernet, via hard wire. So if you look at his channel, which is Life is Driving, so many people have been using his footage, including our friend Blake, without giving him credit. That guy, first of all, when the gun started firing, ran up to the edge of the thing. He didn't know if he was going to get shot, and everybody's using his footage and nobody mentions him. And in fact, I saw people giving him shit today. So he's there live streaming. If you look at his YouTube channel, which is also Life is Driving, he's live streaming around the campus for around 20 minutes. He starts rolling at 12:04 p.m. local time, and he sent me the metadata file from his camera. He's one of two original camera recordings we have. So in addition to everything I'm saying now, I hope that everybody on this call will realize that every single piece of footage that people have been evaluating is a decimated, transcoded, uploaded to TikTok, downloaded to X, uploaded to, cropped. Nobody knows who the fuck had it, what the chain of custody is, who's added stuff to it, who's modified the sound, who's changed the frame rate, who's changed the audio encoding rate. And everyone, including John Cohen, is making all kinds of conclusive determinations from the most fucked up evidence I've ever seen. So,
well, hey, Krauser, I did want to, first off, Bartholomew is of Jewish heritage last name, but I'm not, that's just putting that out there. But
is that always the first consideration in this group?
I just looked it up. It's nothing to do with that. Listen, Diligent has gave him credit. No, he's got credit.
Everybody.
Listen,
go ahead.
He's got credit, bro. Diligent did a whole space on him. He even got brought up. Everybody's gave him props. I give him mad props because I've been using this.
The point is not his religion and not him getting credit. The point is the guy is live streaming around campus for 19 minutes with no problem. He's talking to a bunch of students up on the balcony, and then literally 1 second before the shot is fired, his live stream is disrupted. Now, what's interesting is, just about a week before, walking around New York City, which people who watch my channel, I do that all the time. I've done it all over the country, all over the world. I've got a bonded, link aggregated array that I fucking wear, so I'm pretty skilled at it. And I'm in Central Park, and I get into a bit of an argument with the NYPD, who I've got a history with, and I've been tracking them as they go around and agitate protests of all kinds, whether it's Black Lives Matter, burn down Tesla, whatever the protest of the day is. This Sergeant Joel Matola, who's also probably Jewish. Matola is an Italian Jewish name, for those of you who are interested. But anyway, Matola is always at these fucking things, and I think he's up to something.
What's the highest population of Jewish people is in New York, but continue.
Well, hold on a second. Can I just say something really pertaining to what...
Yeah.
Listen, one of the things that the reason why I thought what you said is very, very important is because when we were talking about, there were the 5 same videos that went viral, the few days after. What happened to the rest?
Exactly.
This is a college campus, right? Everybody has their cameras out. Where did that footage go?
I mean, that's
because this is an effort. We heard reporting that people were being asked not to put their footage out.
Well, so what I was going to say is I've got Adam's original file, and tonight I've obtained. Why is that suspicious? 2 Jews have the file.
No, not you. What Ian just said. Okay. Continue, please.
I've got Adam's original file, and then I got another original file just tonight from somebody who was at the event. And the reason I'm doing that is because we just don't know, even if it's innocently done. When somebody uploads a video to a site, that site transcodes it. because Twitter, or X rather, they've got their servers, they've got their video format. Somebody downloads it from there, rips it from there, puts it on TikTok, puts it somewhere else. Every time you do that, we're losing detail. So people are ripping these videos and saying every insect and every fly is a drone. That's not a valid form of research. Now, I'm gonna, shut up my mouth. I have one question for Mr. Blake. He told Redacted, Clayton and Natalie, that he used AI to identify drones in the video, and I am going to say I do not believe that at all. Blake, please tell us what AI software you used to do that, and specifically how you did it, because I think that is a lie, and I'd like you to prove me wrong.
No, I didn't ask it to identify drones. I asked it to identify a black speck, any specks in the sky that was crystal clear blue.
What AI did you use? Which tool was that?
I threw it into ChatGPT.
Really?
Frames. Yeah.
Well, what was your prompt? Because I did that and it said, "Oh, I can't read a video file like that. Sorry."
I don't know. I'll be more than no.
Can you reproduce that and just do a screen capture of you asking ChatGPT to? Because I did exactly what you just said. I said, can you read this video? Here's a YouTube link. Can you read this video and find anomalous dots, find individual things? It said, I don't have the ability. I posted about this.
You can't do it with a YouTube link.
tried to.
Also, ChatGPT is a little tricky. It works for everybody a little differently, but go ahead, continue.
Well,
did you download it and then
first off, dude, you and that other vile piece of shit, I don't owe you two motherfuckers anything. Fuck both of you, okay? I don't owe you a motherfucking thing, bitch.
Hey, Blake, he's gone, dude. I can't stand that fucking dude either. He was calling me a fed, talking a bunch of shit about me. He's fucking gone.
Imagine coming into a space where we're talking about this possible Israeli conspiracy, and he's like, "Listen, the Jew have
Go ahead, Ian. Ian is talking. Let me go. Let's get Ian Carroll.
I just met John Cullen for the first time, and it's always wild when someone meets John Cullen for the first time and realizes how much of an ass John can be. But personally, I really like John. He grows on you over time, even though he's a total asshole. So, yeah, it's just.
I liked him too, but until I found out he.
I'd like him if he wasn't a dick.
I'm ride or die for Ryan. Fuck that. Like I don't let anybody say shit about him.
You know what a waste of good fucking brains it is to be that much of an asshole intentionally on purpose without fucking.
Well, he is chosen. Let's be honest, guys. He's a chosen one, so they always think they're better than us. Let's just be honest.
He's an anti-Gentile. I just like the mixture of being extremely abrasive while playing victim at the same time.
These anti-Gentiles are, the anti-Gentiles are, they're out there and they're about, man, the Christian hating piece. Anyway, but the thing is about it, I do want to point out something on this issue, because I found it rather odd. The Jewish Americans, the Jewish Americans, like the evangelical Christians, back up all this whole Israel bullshit narrative more than the Jewish Americans. That trips me out, man. Like it really is. And I'm getting heat of being a Christian. They call me a New Testament Christian or New Covenant Christian because I'm not the evangelical Christian, because I don't believe that the chosen and all that kind of stuff. And the Israel is not the the geographical piece of land. It's something else a little different. So we gotta take note of that.
Christian identity is a religious sect, and one of the long-standing segments of the white supremacist movement in the United States. That's the ADL. So, yeah. Anyways, right? That's where we are.
I gotta feel like New Testament Christians, like us New Testament Christians.
The entire thing that the ADL put out
Do
there.
we have to talk about this in every fucking
No, I'm not. I'm
space?
gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up.
We go back to the same.
That's where the battle is.
Not you. It's just been, listen, it's not even anybody else's fault. I've just been ODing on it because he's like my best friend, and so I'm just shut the fuck up already. Like I'm tired of that shit. But it's only because I haven't been in my ear 90% of the time.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
That's where the battle is.
I'm just saying. I just thought it's interesting that the ADL is pushing for such topics now, and I'm just saying. I know you heard it all the time, but it is pretty much something from the Torah, right? So, anyways, I'm gonna shut up. It's just interesting that the Judeo-Christians been pushed after Charlie Kirk, how they're now trying to take over the Christian majority when it comes down to the Young Bucks that they're now taking over with Erica. Look, it's just pattern recognition, right? Just sit back, watch the show, and you will eventually figure out the puzzle, right? It just all makes so much sense, especially to guys like us up here. Just saying, I'm gonna shut up. Anyways, Truth Teller is next. Let's go with Truth, Mace, if you don't mind, and Ryan.
No, I don't mind at all. We got to get.
Don't talk about religion.
Because
Yeah, but look, let's connect the dots. Let the evidence speak. You know, which security company that Charlie Kirk used happened to be an Israeli Jewish one. The owners of CEO and Reddit and Discord, where this alleged patsy was communicating, happened to be Jewish controlled as well. The first news outlet to report Charlie Kirk's death, Jerusalem Post. You know, how they had the heads up about that. Danielle lying about his last letter and conversation with Charlie. He's obviously Jewish, Israeli. People spreading the lie the shooter was a groyper. Many Jews online, the influencers. Donors pissed off at the direction of Turning Point USA, like Robert Shillman, Jewish, of course. First person to announce he would continue speaking at college campuses, want to seize on the opportunity. Ben Shapiro from the Jewish Wire, or Daily Wire. Mural painted in record time in Israel for Charlie Kirk. Well, within 48 hours. You know, not Jewish as well. And then picture of Charlie posted by President Trump, including an Israeli flag. Once again, the connection. Intelligence room very well known for false flag operations and deception. Of course, Mossad. The patsy was a distraction. Again, Jewish, George Zinn. And the FBI has been lying to cover for Jeff Epstein, you know, beholden to, of course, Israel, Jewish. So how many more connections do you need?
I'll give you one more.
How many more dots do you have to connect?
Truth, I'll give you one more. And I already mentioned this when that Jew was up here and he tried to discount it. But the kid Hunter, who was talking to Charlie when Charlie is shot or killed or whatever that is Jewish, okay? And he was specifically talking about transgender mass shooters. And because he was the one talking to Charlie when the shot happens, he's the one getting the interviews. There's an interview with him on YouTube. It's got like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 million views already. And he talks all about, you know, how like this whole thing about transgenders being a high risk or, you know, or being disproportionately overrepresented in mass shootings is wrong. And what it's really doing is it's setting up this dialectic where the public is now going to argue, are transgender shooters a problem or not, right? And if you're trying to create a false narrative to behind this assassination, and that false narrative is transgenders doing mass shootings, then it's been set up perfectly. He was the second person to talk to Charlie. Why didn't whoever kill him or whatever, why didn't they take the shot during the first questionnaire they had? I think Charlie spent, like 10 minutes or so on the first guy? The second kid comes up, he's Jewish, asks him a question about transgender mass shooters, boom, there goes the shot. Now he's the one that's getting all the airtime, helping sell the narrative that it's this radical left, it's the troons, it's the trannies, that's the problem. And so I just don't, I'm not ready to discount that. I'm not ready to like, what are the odds? What are the odds? He was Jewish too, you know? It's like, it seems a little too on the nose.
we should demand. I think we need to demand for the again. This is where we can test the power of our influence. Like if we really all decided to collaborate on this one thing and to get all of Turning Point USA and all those people that covered up, like they have to be put under investigation. They need to be. They legitimately are suspects now. The people like. Do you guys think that? And I mean, sorry, I'm kind of weaving it back to where you were with that, but I just think that all of this is like we're allowing their little stories to like. I think that, you know, until we are literally everybody's demanding that they get under investigation, and that we just demand results, staying on their ass. Like, how do we do this? Let's strategize on that, because I would love if we could just get one thing done that's major. You know, the next thing you know they're gonna start snitching on each other and shit. And who knows where that would go? They're not.
No Jew is going to snitch on another Jew. That's just not going to happen. No, absolutely not.
They adhere to the tradition of Messiah. They're not allowed to, based on their culture and religion, to cooperate with Gentile authorities to snitch on other Jews. In fact, they're required to actually help that other Jew get away with a crime, and they do this consistently. Case in point, Neil Macaulay in Australia. Pedophile got busted, had mistress of her school, and they gave her $100,000, including there was.
Well, what about the dude in Las Vegas, brother? What about the dude in Las Vegas? Right. What about the dude in Las Vegas just recently?
Well, there's always the possibility.
Alexander.
Yes.
But aren't they Christian Zionists? They're
different. What is the call? And they got him into Israel. He's not going to face prosecution though.
Well, there is always the possibility of the Bernie Madoff type character or the Robert Maxwell type character.
How are you? It's been a long time.
It has been. How are you, mate?
Nice to see you. Good. I see Ian's hands up, but I just feel like we just came up with 25 different excuses as to why we can't do it. I think we should do it. You know what I'm saying? I think we should do it. We should carve out 10 minutes of all of these spaces you do every night, Ryan, and have everybody post about this shit. Make sure that you know, this now warrants an investigation of TPUSA, a thorough one. I mean, they were the ones all around that scene.
Maze, the way to do it is not have a bunch of people tweet, but it's to have one person, like with a lot of followers, make a very well crafted tweet, and then you have the entire space amplify and boost that tweet, tagging whoever the intended audience is. That's how you do it. Not by 1,000 people making it each their own tweet.
Yeah, let's go to Ian. His hand is about to fall off. Go ahead, Ian.
Never the determination is boundless. And we talked about this at the very offset of the space, but for those that have come in, and because it seems topical, this idea of the convenience of perhaps some of the things that are taking place around the time of this shooting, right? We're ultimately going to get to the bottom of the who's behind it, or at least hopefully we will. We can point to the fact that there were seemingly a lot of Jewish individuals, like Truth just mentioned, at the event, around the event, surrounding the event, the patsy of the event, the guy asking questions during the event, like Sam was just pointing out. But we've obviously also got all of the things that took place within the 24, 48, 72 hours during and after, let's say, this event itself. And obviously we had the Epstein vote that just coincided completely amidst the Charlie Kirk shooting, that therefore got zero coverage whatsoever. We have 9/11 just the day after, which I believe this would have been the year where, given the efforts of the people like those on this panel and those across X that are really spreading this message to their communities, you know, this would have been the year where people would have really started connecting the dots that haven't thought about these issues, because there would have been so much public conversation around it. But at the same time, you also had OpenAI, which the day of made a deal with Oracle of massive valuation for Larry Ellison, the head of both of those companies, of course, Jewish. You also had Larry Ellison's son, David Ellison from Skydance, that just bought Paramount, that was announcing they were going to be buying Warner Brothers, which would therefore make up something between maybe 20 and 25% of all media under the sun, also Jewish, of Oracle, now one of the richest guys in the world. You had the $650 million that went to Israel. You had the boycotting of Israel that was basically pushed out. You had Marco Rubio in the State Department suggesting they're going to take the passports from anybody critical of Israel. You had Marco Rubio then go over with Mike Huckabee to touch the wall next to Netanyahu in Israel. Within that 48-hour window, you also had Jimmy Kimmel make his comment. And I bring this up because they were just talking about what's going to be the fallout of this, right? After 9/11, you got the Patriot Act. After this, you got Kimmel. And what happened? Kimmel gets kicked off of the air. All of the conservative right gets excited because they think they're going to a win out of this, right? They get the dopamine rush of, yeah, we're sticking it to Jimmy Kimmel. And we're going to punish him because he, I guess, utilized his free speech. And at the time, I said, listen, guys, this is a trap. What they're going to do is they're going to basically oust Jimmy Kimmel. They're then going to turn around and say that wrongthink is something that they can punish. They can come after you for your jobs, for a million other things, to penalize you for basically saying the things that you're not supposed to say. And then lo and behold, what happened? Jimmy Kimmel's back on air. So all the people that thought that this idea that this was maybe perhaps the
sky high.
That's exactly right. So everybody that was suggesting that this is, it's crazy to suggest this is a Trojan horse to try and push this idea of limiting free speech, and that it's a market-driven thing. Kimmel's going to get kicked off because of his ratings, kicked off because he's not profitable. And look, I think Kimmel's show sucks. But nonetheless, he's back on the air. What does that mean? It wasn't a market-driven thing. This wasn't because the audience wasn't there. The audience was never there. Kimmel is there to push a message. He's there to push propaganda, no different than Jon Stewart 20 years ago on The Daily Show. That's all these people do, is they push a narrative. In this case, Kimmel getting ousted from his show was the narrative, to showcase that if you say the wrong thing that goes against the machine, that they can take your job, they can take your career. All of these things, again, within basically, in some cases, a 2-hour window, and others about a 72-hour window. But my point is that they are now going to use this to go after the speech. That's why they're holding up this guy who's the trans shooter, right? They're going to say, oh, this is a dangerous ideology. Where do you think they're then going to point that idea of dangerous ideologies? it's going to be of those that are quote unquote anti-Semites, those that are low IQ anti-Semitic commentators, right? That's where that's going to go. And simultaneously, what I envision that they're probably going to do is they're going to say, oh, this individual is radical, he's dangerous, therefore he shouldn't hold a gun. And just like with Jimmy Kimmel, the right-wing masses are going to come along and say, yeah, take the guns from the trans people, take the guns from the LGBT people. Fast forward 6 months later, oh, wait, you want to take the guns from the people that critique Israel? Whoops, we walked right into that one. And so all of these things are coordinated. If this is part of a bigger conspiracy, we know 1,000% that at some point down the line, we'll look back and no different than people do today with JFK, and they recognize that there was all of these various pieces in motion. There were all of these tangential benefits to the people behind that killing. I fear that we're probably looking at the exact same thing, and if that is the case, then they set up all of the other things that came around that window. And I do think it's not only that Charlie Kirk, maybe he was a threat to Israel, but the timing is the thing that I think is the most, it may be curious, right? Because again, Epstein just wiped under the table. 9/11 wiped under the table. Everybody completely forgot about the stabbing down in Atlanta of the white woman by the black guy. All those things wiped under the table. And now what does everybody talk about? This one thing. And they simultaneously label anybody and everybody that wants to.
Yeah, let's not forget when they all got distracted. And I love how you put that together, right? I always love everything you put together like that. Let's not forget the same day, that same night after he got killed, what did they do? Do not boycott Israel. $1 million fine, 20 years in jail, right? Oh, wait a minute. Let's see what sticks against the wall. Let's see if you go talk shit about Israel, well, we're gonna revoke your passport. We're gonna take your citizenship away. Well, that didn't stick. But yeah, the analogy is perfect because they are trying to come.
And they want to give another $6 billion worth of weapons and cash to Israel. That's an addition to the 3 billion.
Well, dirty Apaches, 3,400 vehicles and some scrap metal, right? Isn't that interesting, right? Like, we have no money, we in debt, we haven't, what is the inflation right now of the dollar? Is it 92 or 96%? I'm not sure. I think it's like 92% or something, right? It's just insane. But the anti-Semitic talking points coming after anti-Semites, coming after Israel, so-called quote-unquote haters and people who talk against Israel, all that stuff, that's on the horizon because they're testing how stupid MAGA is and how stupid these followers are to fall for all these, attacking the First Amendment right of speech. And then they're going to come eventually after the people, they're going to be, oh, what about these guys? Well, are you not a Judeo-Christian? Don't you believe that Israel is the chosen land? Well, what about these guys who criticize Israel? What about these guys who are anti-Semitic? Bam, right? Anyways, beautiful.
And one last little piece to throw in and just wrap the bow on it real quick, Mace. It's just the idea that I mentioned Oracle at the beginning of this, their partnership with OpenAI, again, both Jewish. What did they just buy? TikTok. Why? Because they need to control absolutely all the information because we're connecting way too many of the dots, which is why, for what it's worth, Truth Teller, who does some of the best research on this entire platform, going in and figuring out the connection between Charlie Kirk's wife's parents, Raytheon, and Israel, the wildest piece. Again, AI, OpenAI, Grok even. I made a post where I took his infographic and I asked Grok, I said, hey, did Charlie Kirk's wife's family have any business ties to Israel? It said definitively no. You then take the screenshot the Truth Teller was able to put together, you feed it to Grok and say, is this correct? And it says, whoops, yes, it is, meaning it just lied to you. And so what's my point is that they're controlling all of this and we're going to find ourselves in this really dystopian future state where not only the mainstream media and not only the conversations that we're allowed to have on here because everything is going to be censored and suppressed, but even if you go into the purple pill and you look at the comments on this space, when the Jewish guy came in here, there's like a 10-minute window where it's just, why are all these people being mean to the Jew? And then you look at the accounts that made those posts, they have no following. They have no commentary. Why? Because they're either Indians or other individuals from Mossad 8200 that are posing as real people, or even more terrifyingly, it's the AI. And they're going to roll this out. They're going to give us basically this future state in the digital world where we will not be able to differentiate real from digital, and the digital will flood the zone to the point that the voices that we have in here become essentially meaningless.
I gotta highlight one thing. I don't think that people take Maze and Destiny. They did some. And speaking with Didi, I put it up in the nest. Project Esther we need to look at the Heritage Foundation. It is a big fucking deal. It's already in effect. What was that thing where they were putting it? So where we couldn't get on an airplane. They withdrew it or whatever, but they put that proposal or provision in to where may not be able to get on an airplane if we criticize Israel stuff. And that shit is in effect. That shit is real. They've scrubbed it from the internet and some of the different places or whatever. But Maze has been screaming Project Esther, and I think that people need to take a serious look at it.
Yep, this actually weaves perfectly in with what Ian is saying. Because right now, what seems like external type of force, on trying to shut down your speech and whatnot, is now going to be this invisible AI layer, right? And that's what you guys have to understand. And when we're looking for this big, huge totalitarian thing that's coming down, no, it's going to be much more participatory in nature. There's going to be invites extended to you that are actually attractive because it knows every fucking thing about you. And the thing about it is that, I just now realized I said Coyote's favorite line. The thing about it is, did y'all hear that? Oh my God, I know that.
What'd you say?
Nothing, I'm glad you did hear it. Anyway, I said the thing about it is, and it's so funny, I'm making fun of you for so long for saying that. It's so funny. Anyway, but what I was saying is that there's people that are not really fathoming. They just feel like, oh, they already have our data. That's usually the common excuse that I get. There is a huge underestimation happening as to what the aggregation actually does. It takes it from analytical to becoming predictive. And then eventually, as they continue, and by the way, this isn't just the United States. I mean, it's literally the Five Eyes with Israel at the center of it, just so you guys know. And when you're looking at Project Esther, this is something that is very systemic. It's not even on the surface. Like, you're not even going to know. You're not going to know. They're not going to give you a courtesy call and be like, by the way, you were added to this list, and we're going to put a target card on you, and we are going to, begin doing massive surveillance on you and finding ways to make your fucking life hell in ways that you won't even imagine. You won't even be able to tie back to us. And what they also do in this, guys, is that they have taken the term, just like they did with pro-Palestinian, that evolved into pro-Hamas, and then it went to pro-terrorist. Well, what they're doing with, criticism of Israel is that they're turning that into anti-Americanism. They are turning that into you potentially being labeled a domestic national domestic terrorist. I just think it's so important, considering what we've seen so far, to not let this, go unnoticed and take it seriously. So anyway, that's all.
Yeah, Mace, if I can
Real quick, just to kind of hit on this. Serious topic, to be honest. We've been covering that a lot over at JQR, right? I mean, obviously with Ian Malcolm, Truth Teller did. I mean, we can talk about this since the day it came out. But anyways, go ahead, Blake. Sorry.
No worries, man. I didn't mean to butt in. I just wanted to say, Candace has the full file. She has a team that is salivating to get their hands on it now. So it'll be validated, and I'm also it'll be validated just as fast as they can work and validate it. And I would assume we're going to see way more on this tomorrow. And then I'll also put it for everyone else. It's uploading as well, and I'll share that. So that every bit of this can be checked and referenced, or just to, make sure that it's all on the up and up, and that motherfucker crowdsource can kiss my ass on everything else.
It's George Schultz that runs that. He's a Jew, the CEO, and he was the guy that also, made the excuse when they had that shutdown. If you remember, saying it was because of a software update. Well, no, that was actually planned. But I don't want to derail you. Keep going.
No worries, man. I just wanted to throw that out there since it kind of hit on the topic of, fake stuff and all that.
Yeah, I was just going to compliment Mason.
Yeah, go ahead, Truth. Go ahead and jump in because, go ahead and do that. I just want to, dude, we got Adam up here. I just realized actually that Adam is the guy I take a lot of news from.
He invited me.
I get a lot of news from him, man. I just realized who that is, bro. I'm like, okay, all right. Hey, man.
You're taking a lot of news too. My fellow uncensored AI brother from another mother.
Man, I love that, man. Hey, it would be an honor to have a follow from you, by the way, right? I mean, Jesus, I just realized who that is, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, sure. I just followed you.
God bless, guys. We all on this together, right? All right, Truth Teller, go ahead. Sorry, I was glazing a little bit because I just realized who Adam is. My God.
It was so cute. I've never seen you do that before.
What a fan.
I like him too.
Okay, he's a fanboy, no big deal. So,
I love Adam. Adam is the GOAT. I'm a fan too.
well, we're supposed to do a collab. Adam, let me know when you're ready to do that collab. Still waiting. But look,
I thought it was today in the evening, right?
Yeah.
Have I misread the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, my evening or your evening, because you're in a different time zone.
I was assuming it would be my midnight today.
Okay, I'll be up. Hit me up. I'll be ready.
Okay, yeah, I'll DM you about it. Yeah, we're gonna host the space.
Sounds good. So what I was gonna get at is just with respect to what Mace is saying, like, look, Operation Stargate's real. Like what Larry Ellison was saying, that they want to create a surveillance state to ensure, everybody's on their best behavior, the police as well. They're not speaking about them being on their best behavior. No, it's everyone else. And in the event there's some kind of, say, anarchy, insurrection or whatnot, these guys already have their bunkers prepared, including Larry Ellison himself. He owns an island, a private island in Hawaii. All these elitists, all these technocrat Jewish guys, they all have their own private islands to escape to in the event of. Peter Thiel, he's got that property just off of New Zealand, off an island off of New Zealand. He's got a private jet on standby and a black Mercedes ready to roll him out anywhere around the world he is to that little private island he's got. So that's how prepared they are in the event of. And just again, with respect to Operation Stargate, which is, a collaboration between OpenAI, Sam Altman, Larry Ellison, Oracle, and now he's got TikTok as well, and also Masayoshi Son from SoftBank. It's no joke. And they're also, of course, partnering with Palantir and they've been centralizing and integrating this data for a long time to, again, make it predictive. And all these reactions that people are putting up online with the posts, all of it is getting banked into their centralized database, which Palantir got paid over $100 million to just for that particular project to centralize all the data they've been gathering this whole time. And they didn't just start surveilling, right? They've been doing this for a long time through Promise software back in the 1980s, which Rafi Aden famously stole, from the Justice Department, and then they were selling it with a backdoor through Robert Maxwell to these various countries around the world, which later then turned into Pegasus software, which they innovated themselves. And now, of course, they've been using Carbine 911, which doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, that's just pure Unit 8200 Mossad working on that, plus Israeli military intelligence through Abe Barak, who founded it, and Jeff Epstein, of course, famously financed it with Peter Thiel, of course. So anytime anyone makes a 911 call, they can live stream that phone call, see where that person's at, geolocate you, figure out your exact GPS coordinates, and also track the call and your personal information just from Carbine 911, which complements Palantir, which is surveilling all these platforms anyways. And that's on top of the company that Jonathan Greenblatt himself has from the ADL that tracks all these websites anyways, because that's how he's able to then figure out that 90% of the messaging on TikTok is anti-Israel, and that's obviously a problem for them. And now they've done something about it. A year later, it's in Larry Ellison's hands, who already controls, by the way, all of the major online servers for cloud storage. He controls it, and he was briefly the richest guy in the world when his stock shot up over 40% because he did a so-called $300 billion deal with OpenAI, which is broke and doesn't even make any money. Nobody ever asked how these tech companies become Goliaths. None of them are profitable. They're all just getting government contracts. Palantir has 3 separate government contracts with the DoD, with ICE, and also, of course, HHS, Health Human Services. And, of course, previously they were running COVID as well. They started off by, of course, tracking data in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Incompetence is the one that funded them, CIA. So, there shouldn't be any coincidences here that of course, it's the powers that be that happen to be members of the tribe that run all these major tech companies, control security, control software, control hardware as well, control search engines, tracking all your data, surveilling you, and eventually will also, will pose consequences for those who will try to step up against them. And by the time they're in full-scale mode, ready to go, 90% of jobs will have been wiped out through AI automation. At least that's what their objective is. And most of us will be on universal basic income, which they can freeze anytime they want. If you speak up, offer some kind of political dissent, or if you say refuse a vaccination. That's their long-term goals. This stuff's real. And then with the Genius Act, they, of course, want to push through their stablecoin, which Trump already has in mind through World Liberty Financial. That's a whole other rabbit hole. I'll pause on that because I know you got a bunch of hands. And I think, I don't know if Ian Carroll wants to speak, so he undid his mic a couple times. Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, could have put something up there? Your Rumble, I put it up. I think it's important, and I think everybody needs to start exploring the Rumble thing, just in case you never know. But I put Ryan's up top. Destiny's got a great one. You can follow her. It's on hers. It's on her. Her link is on her page or whatever. And gentlemen, I do suggest you, try to get established over there so we can start live streaming and stuff because they do allow freedom of speech and whatnot. But again, Ryan's is up top on there and mine's in the comments on there. But I don't want to say that.
I love you, bro. You just slipped that. He's like, let me put mine in there real quick.
That's how you grow, Will. Wolf, it takes.
No, but it's a smart man. It's a smart man. But Ian, would you like to cover a little bit of what Truth just said, if you're still here with us, Ian? Ian Carroll. He might have stepped away. All right. We have a lot of hands, guys. Mace, we do still have 50 people trying to request. So why don't we go with Akunji?
I was just going to ask if I'll step down, you guys. I'll open up. I don't want to be a stage.
No, go ahead, please.
I'll listen.
No, go ahead. You have your hand up. Why don't you go ahead real quick, and then we go to Akunji.
Come on, you're a beauty pageant queen.
No, that was literally what I was raising my hand for.
Nah, you're fine.
Also, you ain't going anywhere, girl.
Is that Gen X girl?
Yeah, Gen X girl's here. Shout out to her.
Hi. How are you guys?
Hey, girl.
Hi. Thanks for having me up here. Hey, Ryan.
There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted
You
to
don't
pop
sound
in
like
real
Gen
quick.
X though. You sound like a Zoomer.
Well, I get people get confused with Gen X and Gen Z all the time, so they keep calling me kid. But it's all right. I'm 50 now, so I appreciate being called a kid. But Ryan, I saw your post about the mic theory. I think Blake posted it up there. There's a guy by the name of John Bray. Since September 17th, he's been writing about this. He's even done vector analysis. His stuff is really thorough. And people aren't paying attention. I don't know if you've noticed him. I just wanted to...
No, I've never even heard of pixel forensics. I looked it up and it looked freaking fascinating. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is legit.
Yeah, so whatever research you're doing, I think he would benefit it if you guys bring him in because he's looking to...
Is he in the room?
No, he's not. But I can share the post with you guys if it's all right.
Gen X girl, the thing about his analysis, and he was I think one of the first, or if not the first, to talk about a possible exploding microphone. I don't know if he's changed his tune, but his hypothesis or his theory was that lapel mic that's on the outer portion of Charlie's shirt over the right pectoral is the projectile that enters Charlie's neck. But we can see from this new video that Blake posted that it actually looks like that mic over the right pectoral remains attached to the shirt after the alleged detonation. So John's analysis that has that mic traveling into the neck backwards and to the left from the right front pectoral does not seem to match this new footage from Blake.
Yeah, because it would have to take a weird, almost 90-degree turn around the neck to come in at that angle where the carotid artery and jugular vein would be. And so, which to his defense, the entire world that's been looking into this has been having to view and work with the just craziest low resolution stuff imaginable. I mean, it's almost like when we see a clear video, it's like we just discovered fire for the first time. I mean, it's like, holy shit, oh my, we've been looking at the shittiest video over the last 2 weeks, and finally we've got something that we can work with. So to his defense, yeah, it's been awful angles and looks and people moving their phone and just every variable that works against trying to investigate something has been present. So yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, I don't even know if this conversation had even come up within law enforcement to begin with. Did they even look in? Because it seemed like the shooter thing went, just everyone took the ball and ran with it. So who the hell knows where any of his stuff is? I mean, I just hope to God that we've got some sort of preservation of evidence of stuff that was around him that was being used that day and how things just the whole setup, how it happened. I've got someone really aggressively looking into footage right now, scouring across all of their little networks and channels on anybody that's got footage after he throws the hats, because that is going to be, I would love to see how they mic'd him up, or how they did it in the past. If we could even find that, can we find some footage? Because I would assume this is a very just it's a routine thing that they do the same thing every time. Like Charlie walks out, Charlie throws hats, Charlie sits down in his chair, Charlie gets mic'd up. Like, can we find something like that just to kind of see the process and see if there's any deviations? If we're lucky enough to find footage from the 10th, is there any deviations? I can tell you that the thing inside his shirt that I just posted looks much bigger than what is normally present. It's a bigger footprint, so to speak, inside the shirt. That's evident. Now, it's clearly, I can't wrap my head around the 90 or the turn, like what the dude that's doing the pixel stuff, pixel forensics. However, we don't know what's going on underneath there, and you can easily research on Google Photos and look up that there are all kinds of different lavalier mic setups with adapters and different things. And I mean, that's a very plausible scenario where there's another something there that's present. So.
Well, maybe he can help you out, you know, if anything, with nothing else, the pixel stuff, because I thought that was pretty impressive. And share, I don't know, whenever I collaborate with other people, I always end up, you know, getting better.
Yeah, and you can do that in Chat GPT, so that fucker crowdsource can go and look that up too. You can do, because I looked it up and did it, you can do pixel forensics in Chat GPT as well.
Just so you know, Chat GPT is not confidential. You know that, right? Sam Altman literally shares all your searches and data that you're searching with law enforcement, including CIA. So maybe use a different AI. I'd say uncensored AI, or pick it.
Go under uncensored AI, bro. That's promo uncensored AI.
Altman's already given up security and confidentiality, just so you know. He sold out a long time ago.
Yeah, huge shout out to JD Shop, right? He's the man, bro. Love him.
Hell yeah. I see Tyler down here too. I'm gonna get you, Tyler. Go ahead, Akunji, jump in. And Truth, I'll DM you, but I have some info on some Truth AI that anyway, I'll let you in on it in a few. Go ahead, Akunji.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Where you been?
Yeah, I've been causing trouble, so I had to put my head into the computers and books, and hopefully we'll see some of that coming out soon. But I wanted to pivot a little bit in terms of the Secret Service finding all of these 300 odd mobile servers that they won't name which country they found around the United Nations Assembly, but they're trying to make out that this issue was about shutting down the New York network. It isn't. These are man-in-the-middle attacks where you set up servers so that the mobile phones that people are using link to the servers, the mobile ones that they've discovered, because they appear to be a cell tower, and then it relays that information on to an actual cell tower. So this was a mass surveillance operation, and I think they're framing it in the way to say that it could have been used to shut down the network, to suggest that they caught the operation before it kicked off. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they've caught the operation after it's already completed its exercise, or at least midway, as being a mass man-in-the-middle attack. So I was wondering if anyone had any thoughts on that, and the other thing being the Spanish and Italian warships that are being deployed to protect the flotilla to Israel. What are anyone's thoughts about that?
That was amazing.
Do you want to mention your legal project as well, whereby you're actually prosecuting British citizens that are serving the IDF and then coming back, therefore committing treason?
So the UK government has announced that it's recognizing the state of Palestine for the first time as a country. Now, what that does is there's a piece of legislation in the UK called the Foreign Enlistment Act 1890. I'm not sure how much they'd looked into that as a consideration for when they declared that Palestine as a state. Because what that does is it makes it illegal for a UK citizen to join a foreign army who is at war with a country that the UK is not at war with. Now, this will also apply to Ukraine. If Brits go and join the Ukrainian army, potentially they've committed a criminal offence. But it simply hasn't been applied yet, not since 1946. But the fact that it hasn't applied doesn't mean that it doesn't still exist. And even if the police don't want to do something about it, we can bring private prosecutions around people who are in the potentially in the IDF because they're fighting a state, Palestine, which is not at war with Britain. So that creates an opportunity for accountability outside of the hands of the police because they seem not to be interested in doing it.
That's real initiative right there. If only we could do that in the U.S. Go after those American traitors, Jewish ones especially. They go out and serve in the IDF and then come back.
That would be funny, right? I mean, hey, seeing Trump doing something against that, right? That will be the day I will literally scream in the top of my lungs, yes, finally. But did you guys also hear what happened with Trump? How he's talking about what happened to him at the UN in the elevator? Did they shut the elevator down on him? A bunch of weird hocus pocus was happening there to him. Did you guys even hear anything about that?
I think there were some leaks before about aides to Trump who said that Trump himself is worried about being assassinated by Israel. So I think he's going to be very paranoid, or let's say hypersensitive to any irregularities in his patterns at the moment.
How much worse thing can he do? He's given them everything they want.
Go ahead, Coyote, jump in, hon.
Well, I put something up top. It's Grok's thoughts on it, and I asked it about Ian, Carroll, Ryan, Matta, and Adam Media right there on their thoughts. And I just thought y'all should give it a look, and then I kind of intertwined it with everybody else on stage. And I'm going to ultimately go to the credibility between the mainstream media, the government, and the information that these guys, along with us, are putting out there. Because 100%, I'm going to say this, and I hope that everybody in the listener takes this serious or whatever. When you see all these other people pop up and they're Fox News, that's their source or whatever for their breaking news and stuff like that. Come on, man. These people up here, they're actually taking time to dig through things and get called conspiracy theorists over something with a biased report of 43. Reuters Reuters and the AP are the top, back-driven, biased, or non-biased media outlets out there, and it's of 48% credibility, and it's sad. So I shout out again to all the people out here, man. Y'all keep doing what y'all do. I need to put Truth Teller up there because Truth Teller is one of the best.
And then real quick, Ryan.
All right, this has been a crazy ass space. If y'all didn't see the first part of it, I recommend going back and watching it. I posted the links in the live chat. I want to move on to something else. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna cut off the stream now. I appreciate y'all hanging out. This was very informative, but my brain hurts and I need to relax. Holy shit! All right, y'all have a good night. Peace.